Welcome back to the party, everybody. I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. How is everybody doing tonight? Yes, we are doing an early show, like I said, for you in the replay gang. Thank you so much for coming back. But like I said, sometimes I like to stream whenever I want, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. But usually we are here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Let's do this. Before we begin, I do want to give a shout out to the sponsor of the stream, MySickShirt.com. Whatever your persuasion, they've got something for you. And of course, it's the only place to get your very own The Indian Jesus official merch. All right. So, it's been a day. It has been a couple days. As you can see, I am in full 4K. Hopefully we will, continue to be smooth and everything's good. I think I fixed the problems with the camera, but I'm still working on the Stream Deck. So we going back to the old days. But other than that, today we are going to determine who is the Red Pill Queen. There can only be one. There can only be one. And as we saw very recently, both of these women, if you're not familiar, we've got Jedediah Bila on the left here, and in pink is Just Pearly Things, who we saw in a number of different places, but specifically dropping the ball when it came to interviewing Brittany Renner. It's just too easy. It's too easy to mess that up, and you mess that up. So we don't have too much here. I want to just go through this, and we're going to crown a new Red Pill Queen. So without further ado, let's do it.
First of all, I don't know what she was doing before this, but if you've watched her channel, it's bomb. I'm like mesmerized.
Is it though?
I can't stop it. It's like an addiction.
And that was the big thing, is that she's not terrible. She's good at having conversations, and the content that comes off of that channel is good. But unfortunately, we saw that when she's one-on-one with somebody, not quite the same.
It's like the old reality TV, but like real reality. You know, they've warped it now. It's like there's no reality. You need a reality TV fix, you just watch Pearl. She's young. She's got a young perspective on things. You know me, I'm a little bit of a relic, but it is what it is. Her channel's now at over 900,000. And she had Andrew Tate on. What is it, last week, couple of weeks ago, you had him on the panel?
Is this still? Hold on, I think
the 19th of December when we filmed.
Can you guys hear the video?
Okay.
Released it on Christmas.
So hey, we got Jay Supreme. Welcome. Saying Team Pearly. You know, I was Team Pearly up until this week when she, like I said, she just dropped the ball with Brittany Renner. I just don't know how you have one of the, like, I'm not saying Brittany Renner is a bad person or anything like that. What I'm saying is, if you are making content in this space, then you know how your viewers feel about somebody like Brittany Renner. And so to have her on and essentially have her use your platform as an apology tour platform didn't really nail down anything, didn't really push back anything. And then we saw Jedediah, the other one, sitting with Destiny, who is a top tier streamer in terms of whether you agree or disagree or whatever. The dude knows how to debate. And Jedediah just had it. So let's see if this changes by the end of the stream.
Ask you about, first of all, if you would share, you saw that he got arrested and all that. What was your take when you saw that news coming in?
Oh my gosh, my thought was that he said he was going to get arrested. I was like, he said this was going to happen. The Matrix. I mean, I kind of feel when I was just listening to you, I'm like, I don't know the facts of the case. You know, It's possible there are facts I don't know, but just my gut is like, nah, he said this was going to happen. The Matrix is after him. They're after him.
He was on the show, and I'm curious, when people, I originally had a reaction to him.
Hey, Kelly Green's here. No need to worry. Thank you for showing up, brother. It is always better when you are here. You are very right. No need to worry. Thank you, brother. How are you doing?
When I first came into the space, I had watched a bunch of like shorts, and then you get to know him in the long form content. Now, I've not met him in person though. you've now met him in person, you've had him on the show. What is it like before and after the taping? Like, is the Andrew Tate you see on camera, is that the Andrew Tate that you interact with off camera? Tell me a little bit about that.
Apparently, meeting Andrew Tate is like a life-changing thing. So we have to think about our lives pre-Andrew Tate and post-Andrew Tate. Thank you, Kelly.
Okay, so I want to add one thing. I was also triggered the first time I saw him.
Yeah, me too.
I saw he had a cheating party. That was the first video I saw. I was like, why are you having a cheating party?
Right.
I cheated. I'm like, that's so rude.
Right.
I was triggered. And I was like, because they were talking about how rich guys live like that. And my dad's rich. I'm like, my dad does not have cheating parties.
Right.
I was triggered.
And see, this is the kind of thing that I'm talking about. She so often talks about her dad, which I think, it's a good thing that she has her dad in her life, so on and so forth. But that's the only context that she has for the information. Sorry, dog's making noise over there. That's her only context for the information that she's giving out to men who are living their real lives like this. She's just getting secondhand information from Rollo Tomassi, from Rich Cooper, from whoever it is. She's just getting the secondhand information. And so it's a good thing that she talks about and has listened to the things that her dad has said to her. But also, is that all you got?
Which is good to and I said, even on the show, I acknowledged, as sometimes an emotional reaction happens. I had the same, not to that, but to self-defense. And I had to do a takedown of myself the other day and humiliate myself for the audience because it had to be done. But I'm glad you said it.
Oh, maybe I should take down myself. That's it. People,
Yeah.
the videos are so old that people don't really look at them anymore.
Yeah, but it's cool to see you be like, what the hell? It's deeply humiliating, but it serves a purpose, for yourself, even to keep yourself in check. So what is he like, and what was he like for the interview? I thought it was a fantastic panel, by the way. What was your experience?
Exactly. It was a good panel because of Andrew Tate, not because of just pearly things.
Yeah. So it was really quick in and out because he had to be gone
That's
by,
what she said.
9. And my where I live is kind of tricky to find sometimes. So it was really quick. It was he got there and we're like, all right, come on, get out, get on the set.
Yeah.
But he was really polite. He was really nice. Yeah, it was. I would say he was exactly like he was on camera.
Eating the clementine.
Yeah.
The whole interview, just totally chill.
Yeah. Well, people ask for behind the scenes, and I'm like, there really wasn't.
You would think that because we're in the red pill space, that just because we're listening to two women, it shouldn't be inherently or automatically boring. And you would be correct because, we just saw the other day that I always forget her name, Jedediah Bila. That she did amazing with Destiny. So if this is going kind of boring, kind of the way of the Brittany Renner thing, then whose fault is it really? Who's the common denominator?
Much behind the scenes because it was literally he kind of I had to help him find the place.
Yeah.
And then it was once he found it, I was just get on the set.
Yeah,
we're
let's
going.
Go.
We're rolling. And then he had to be out by a certain time. And I was gonna use every minute of airtime. So it was he had to be gone by 9:30. I ended the show 9:25. It's I'm using every minute of this.
You're 9:20, 9:30 is when we cut.
Yeah, you got 5 minutes. We got the picture for the thumbnail.
I love it. So talk to me about your show. First of all, what I love about it is it feels very authentic to me. How do you recruit women who see the world differently from you? You got one older woman on there that's hilarious.
Auntie Jenny.
But how does it come to be? And what were you doing before this?
Okay. So what was I doing before this?
Mm-hmm.
I worked in sales for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I sold copiers. It was horrible. And so, so I graduated college. I was 21 or 22. Then I moved to Milwaukee. I did sales for 2 years.
Again, what we want to be looking for, how is she qualified to talk to us men about men's issues and how to deal with women and things like that? What has she done that gives us a reason to listen to her?
And I had one TikTok go viral and I was like, you know what? I don't really like working and I just quit.
I said, shit, me too.
And so then I went, I moved home with my parents. And I was just like, I'm going to try out the YouTube thing. And then I was supposed to go to England anyway. I was supposed to, because I quit in the fall, September. I was supposed to go to England in December for volleyball and play volleyball there for a year.
Okay.
So my plan was I'll just try some stuff on the side, go to England, and then I'll just play pro volleyball or whatever.
Oh, so
so that's what
I'm sure pro volleyball teaches you so much about men's issues, right? And here's the other thing that we need to look at. the big reason that I so quickly soured on Pearl was not because of anything about her. It was because of lack of pushback against the easiest person to push back against. So now Jedediah is in this in the hot seat, so to speak, where she needs some pushback. I didn't see exactly what it was, but I saw the lead attorney did something. I think it was last night or the night before about Pearl and Hafiz from the Roommates. If you don't remember, Hafiz was the dude that interviewed her, where she was like, "Women shouldn't have the right to vote," and she just kind of like went out there. And again, if that's what you're trying to do, is be the most extreme person in the space, then you can certainly do that. You don't need to live as a man to do that. But it's just not the same if you're just kind of secondhand giving this information. So I guess that question falls on Jedediah too. Is she good enough to be in this space?
What I was doing.
Do you like actively try to get women on the panel that see the world differently from you?
Yes.
Good question.
Okay. So how do you do that?
It's really hard. It's actually incredibly hard. I would say recruiting is the hardest part of like running the show.
Facts. Super facts. That is one of the biggest reasons why I went away from trying to do panels and podcasting and stuff like that. Because, like today, I just, I got up and I was trying to fix all of the things. Thank you. Thankfully we're 10 minutes without the camera going out. So I think that issue is good. But, then I was trying to get the Stream Deck to work and that wasn't working. I don't even remember where I was going with that. But, so the fact that I want to just do this show early, I can just sit down, turn the camera on, and here we are having a party. But when you have guests and when you have, especially IRL, when you have people coming into the studio and especially if the studio's in your house, that's a big commitment. Then you also have to worry about people flaking out. If you have somebody scheduled, especially on a live show, if you have somebody scheduled and they just don't show up or they ghost, what do? You gotta do something. So I definitely hear her there. That's why I'm very I'm trying to be as respectful and give as much grace to Pearl as possible, because I know to a very small extent how difficult what she does is, and she does it very well. It's just, again, coming back to the point of is she the one to be espousing these ideas?
Because one, it's so frequent how much time you need guests, and two, like sometimes if someone does disagree and you want them back on to disagree, like they see the comments, they're not too high, you're like, like I had one girl say her body count on live, it was so high. I'm like, girl, like, I don't know what you've been doing in these streets. And
Why
then,
would you do that?
yeah, then she got so mad. But the way we do it now is we have a recruiter and he'll pull people off the streets or through Instagram. So he goes in person and just.
I think if you've seen some of the later street walking videos that she does with a black gentleman, nice hair, I think that's the dude that she said is her recruiter.
Recruits at like clubs and or in the daytime, just depends. Train stations.
What is your goal like with it? Well, what is your hope? Is it to entertain? Is it to like?
Good question.
Are you trying to like reach women out there who are young women and say like, wake up?
See, if that's her goal, then okay, we can talk about that. But what you're doing is not really doing that. You're trying to talk to men about why they shouldn't, mess with 304.
What do you really want to do with your show?
Well, I'm trying to answer this in the most concise way because I sometimes have a lot of thoughts.
Yeah, that's cool. You can just spew them all.
So the first thing, I try not to give advice. I feel like it's kind of hard to give advice when you're not married, right? So it's like, what I'm going to say how to get married when I'm not married. Like, what? How am I going to help you? Second thing.
Except I thought she had wife school. I did hear that could be something different in the sense that it's her going to school to be a wife. But if you're saying you're not giving people advice, you're not telling them what to do, but you have a school.
I am really passionate about entertainment. Like I would definitely not be honest if I said that's not entertainment has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
I think sometimes on screen you can have a conversation that represents society. And it's kind of so in a way, when I have Brittany Renner on, I felt like while Brittany Renner is the girl in the forefront, there's a million girls just like her that are coming to the same realizations that she's having.
I completely agree, Pearl. And that is why the way that you conducted that interview was unacceptable. It was unacceptable. You let her skate on all of the just the not forget about her specific actions, just the tenets of the space that you're in. She has violated so many of those things. She has openly talked about manipulating men and using them for not just sex, but for resources, getting all of that stuff. So for you to not push back on any of that and just have, well, let's just have a conversation. That's cool. I'm not saying don't have a conversation, but don't say you're, some red pill warrior or anything. That's it.
And so sometimes like you can create a piece of content that like shows what's happening in society. Third thing is I just think there's a lot of women that have been brainwashed by feminism. And I did like the one thing that blew up my channel was me red pilling women. And it was interesting because my friend Jess, who's my roommate, it was like, that was how we kind of started. I was showing her Jordan Peterson about the pay gap. I was showing her Thomas Sowell, where they talk about like how history is misrepresented in some things. And it was just so interesting for the audience to see her like, because she was someone not that opinionated in the middle and just change her mind. And
that's what she needs to do. She needs to focus on that part of it. She needs to focus on the woman part of it. Because she, again, nothing against her personally, but she just, not having lived the life of a man, you just don't have that experience to know what it is you're talking about. Now, if you're talking to women, that's a completely different story.
I would say of the girls I've done the reaction videos with, like, I would say 75% become more moderate over time or change their mind completely.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So are you political by nature? Because I mean, there are people in this space who have traditional values when it comes to gender roles, but they're not necessarily politically aligned. And then there's others that fall in line with conservatism like I do.
Yeah, I would say I'm more conservative.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are you into politics? Is that like is that something that, because I don't hear you talk about it really on the show.
No,
it's more about
it's
dating
not.
relationships.
I have my
And that's a good thing. That is a good thing, especially when you're talking about something as radioactive as red pill, manosphere stuff. I think it's a great thing that she has kept politics specifically out of it. Now, of course, you can't talk about this stuff without talking about divorce laws and inevitably somebody's going to bring up the wage gap and stuff like this. But if you're not trying to push a political message, you are you're going to much more effectively be able to focus on the message that you are pushing.
Opinions. I like the show to be more about relationships because I one think that affects more people.
Yeah.
And two, I also think that I don't know, like there's so many shows about politics.
Yeah.
Like
there are, but now I'm second guessing my own words now. Because on the one hand, well, okay. So if she is specifically just looking to talk to women, then, again, politics doesn't necessarily need to be as relevant. Women tend to be, I'm not going to say that, but the political part doesn't necessarily have to be as big of a part of it, because as a woman, you can kind of just go about and focus on dating, and politics is just happening around you. But as a single man, especially if you're over 25, you gotta know what political things are behind this, because we're trying to not just change how people view things, but we're actually trying to change society.
I give every angle, and there's so many people that know so much more than me. I'm just like, I'll let them.
Do you live what you say? Which is because you're in the thick of it right now. Like I'm doing this show. I kind of fuse politics. I don't know how much you know about my show, but I fuse politics and dating and relationships together. But I'm married and I'm older and I have a child. It's a different perspective. You're in the thick of.
Does anybody know how old she is? Because if she's definitely, she looks like right around 40. So if she's like 38, then it's like, okay, she looks pretty good. But if she's over 40 and she looks like that, damn.
Of like, I don't know if you are dating or if you're out there in the scene seeing these things, female promiscuity. Like, I don't know if you're out in the club being like, oh my God, what's going on here?
I don't drink. So I'm like, okay, I'm good on that.
But do you live
but again, exactly. You don't drink. You don't live as a man. So to the men who do drink, the men who do live as men, what is it that you have to offer?
Do you live what you say? In other words, are you somebody who, how do you live your life when it comes to dating and relationships?
I live how I say.
You do.
I mean, I would say
that didn't sound very, very confident. Listen to this again. What do I say?
How do you live your life when it comes to dating and relationships?
I live how I say.
You do.
Sure about that?
I mean, I would.
Do you though?
Say there are things in the how do I put it? Like, I think there's been times in my life where maybe I prioritized like volleyball. That was like the love of my life, like,
Mhm.
you know, over relationships. And I probably shouldn't have done that in hindsight. But you know, now that I've really like thought more about it, I'm like, I feel like relationships should be at the forefront, you know.
But you're
Mhm.
traditional. You know, you believe
No,
in
I can't be I feel like traditional. If you're not a virgin, you're a traditional woman. Like
Yeah.
traditional women get married at 22. I wish to God I was.
Not
but-
anymore though. I feel like
No.
now that's changed where like I guess the definition of traditional has changed a bit
Hmm.
too. And
So here's the pushback is that, yeah, typically when you were reading Rollo Tomassi 10 years ago, the expectation was that traditional women are going to be married by 25. But that's not the case anymore. That doesn't mean that these women aren't looking for that traditional relationship. It doesn't mean they're not qualified to be in that traditional relationship. But the landscape itself has changed. So to just automatically put that number is, oh, you got to be married at 22 or 23. Otherwise, then you're not really traditional. This is exactly what I mean. She is just regurgitating talking points. And I know I'm kind of saying the same thing, but I really want to hammer it home because I really want to compare to Jedediah.
in the sense that like for me now when I look at women, modern women, for me, traditional means someone who's not sleeping around with everyone, who's selective, who
Exactly.
respects their body, not necessarily a virgin, but someone who equates sex with emotion and is a relationship person and is thinking about marriage and family and not necessarily climbing that
Hey, yes, Mike, I am starting early today. I've already spent hours on this computer. I got the camera working, but the Stream Deck is not working. And I've called Elgato, the people of the Stream Deck. I've called StreamYard. It's a whole thing. So I was just like, you know what? I'm doing this. And then there might be a YouTube mastermind meeting later. So, well, I gotta tell you guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button because even though my schedule is every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, as you can see, sometimes I just stream whenever I want. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and you will never, ever, ever miss an Indian Jesus live party ever again. Glad to have you, Mike. Glad you are here. Yeah, we are trying to determine who is the red pill queen.
CEO ladder as a priority. That's what traditional sounds like to me.
See, to me, I think of like a 22-year-old virgin.
You do. So do you think that
How many? I think this is exactly what JBL, as she's effectively known on this channel. I think what JBL is about to say is, how many 22-year-olds do you think are virgins in 2023? So are you saying no women in 2023 are traditional? Now, I'm agreeing with you that not many are. But to say that you have to, it's just changed.
how many of those you think exist?
I mean, I think they're rare. I mean, that's why I think like it's so funny that modern women want traditional, like we want traditional treatment, but we're not traditional. And that's just
And again, to really hammer that down, what I don't disagree with what Pearl is saying, that traditional used to mean something different. But the fact that that has changed, if you are looking for the old version of traditional, then you're probably not going to find it. But as that Overton window, if you could call it that, shifts, and what used to be, oh, cool, now you've only slept with 3 dudes throughout your entire life and you're 25 years old. Well, as compared to everybody else, that's pretty traditional, is it not?
just my opinion on it.
This is my opinion.
So I'm trying to be more traditional. That's why I started the second channel. Have you seen Wife School?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so it's
You know what? This I didn't realize that almost half of this video, not almost half, a quarter of this video was JBL talking about the Andrew Tate arrest. So when this is done, if I don't have to go to that mastermind meeting, then we'll check out this Wife School channel because I do want to give her the best chance to you know, I don't want to just flame her over here. Like I said, I do enjoy her work. I do enjoy her work ethic. So maybe we'll do that.
School, Wife School. So, you know, I'm not going to say I'm perfect, right? I'm not going to come here and say I do everything right. I'm the epitome of a traditional woman. I'm not. I got areas I need to improve. So, what we did is we're bringing in wives to teach modern women how to be more traditional. And I'm going to do season 1. And basically every episode we try to do things like that are more traditional. So first episode, I don't know how to dress. Like at all. And the comments were saying I need to learn more because they didn't like the outfits we picked anyway. But I was an athlete like the first half of my life. Like that was all I cared about. So what I did was I was like, okay, let's bring in a guy and we're gonna get a guy's perspective on like what they like like women to dress, and Allie, who's married, right?
Yeah.
So then episode 2, we already filmed. I learned how to make a cake from scratch.
Oh,
and I
nice.
learned
Woo!
how to cook. I think it was stir fry. I forgot what it was. But the cake was really hard. They took away my blender. I'm like, I can't. And I was so confused. I'm like, Auntie, why would you not use the blender? It's here.
Shout out to Auntie. Remember Auntie from the last or from the was it the last one? No, the one before that, when she was on with Andrew Tate, and she was more based than he was. But so as she's talking about this wife school, and she's saying that it's not about her teaching other women how to be wives, it's about wives teaching women how to be wives. That is again, that is what she needs to be doing.
It's here. I wasn't very, it humbled me because I think I'm strong until I start blending. And I'm like, ow, like my arms are. So, you know, I would say I still definitely have a ways to go, but I'm working on it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm open with the audience. I made a lot of mistakes. Now, I got really lucky and I landed with the husband and the baby, and I had a baby late. But I'm trying to like warn women, it doesn't always go that way, and there's a lot that can go wrong in the paradigm if you're following like bury your head in the work and you want a family, but you don't prioritize that till you're 30. What do you think is, first of all, the women that come to your show, do you think they believe what they're saying?
Yup.
I think sometimes as women, we don't even like realize what we're saying isn't true.
That's even more on point. It's not that they believe the things that they're saying. They're just saying what they're saying because it's expedient to the conversation. It has nothing to do with what they actually believe.
Like,
you think they had that like moment where they're like, did I just, and then they like have an
it's
awareness?
happened to me before.
Yeah.
Where, okay, I'll say like, okay, the cheating thing. You know damn well that, and like I just use NBA players because they're so like, it's just easy to use them as an example. You know damn
Except when you're talking to Brittany Renner face to face, right?
well that a man in Tiger Woods' position, let's use Tiger Woods, even my father, who is a great guy, he would have a hard time if there was a bus full of models waiting for him every day. Some guys are nerds, they kind of avoid those situations. But by even, you know, and I would say any guy is gonna have a hard time if these girls are sitting at home trying to, you know, his wife mouths off after work. He's like, you know what? Just this one day. And you know, even me like saying that and like an intuitive level, I kind of knew that. But I was like, what? No, my dad doesn't cheat. Got triggered.
So, and what is that, do you think? Because I think that
Emotions.
that happens. It is emotion, but there is so much programming that goes on. Like even, you know, me, I sat here and, you know, my whole career, I'm like defending masculinity and defending men and do believe in the traditional family. I didn't have a promiscuous past. I never went that route. So I'm sitting here thinking like, oh, feminism didn't get me. But then I watch an Andrew Tate video about self-defense and I'm like, you know, so it gets you even if you don't realize it. So I'm wondering.
That is a huge point. It gets you even if you don't realize it. Even if you're not a woman. We've all seen the fake male feminists that are just like, oh, I'm gonna do this, trying to get laid, whatever. But there's men out there who are, you know, it's one thing to say, oh, I believe that women shouldn't have equality under the law. I don't think that type of stuff is not what we're talking about. To think that feminism is something that is super prevalent, that is necessary in society today, is just silly. It's just silly. But there's even men, but especially the women. You're not escaping that. It's baked in to the culture.
Wondering like how many women have this like programming and they don't really realize it. And it takes like a lot of self-reflection really to sit back and say, wow, did this really make me happy? Is that good advice? Like, why am I so mad?
No.
And they never do that until they hit the wall. See, that was supposed to be the Vine thing, but my Stream Deck's not working.
And that was what I had to realize with my volleyball career. I was like, oh my gosh, that probably was a poor choice. and it's hard because I love volley. Like I could, if I could do anything in life, even before the pod, I'd be a volleyball player. If there was money in women's sports.
Why do you say it was a bad choice
Mike.
then?
Because it was like that was all I did. That was all I cared about.
Yeah, exactly, Mike. You know, the fact that we have the fact that it is called a blind spot is doesn't mean that you can't. I mean, think of a blind spot on your car. You know, your mirrors work a certain way, and in the blind spot, it doesn't mean that you cannot access vision. You just gotta lean over or lean forward or whatever. And this self-reflection that they're talking about is very closely tied to accountability. And we know how women feel about accountability.
And I would say, on the plus side, it avoided like a lot of bad situations. Like I avoided because I was just like volleyball.
Mhm.
But it wasn't really smart to like prioritize that when there's no future in it.
Is it hard for
Guys, hit that poll. Only one person hit the poll, and I kind of am leaning one way, and I want to hear what you guys think. Make sure you hit that poll, please.
you, with the values that you have right now, to be in the dating world? Like, do you think that women who espouse how you feel about life, do you think they have a hard time, given how many women are willing to sleep around and do this and do that? Is it hard?
That's what she said.
Does it feel challenging for you?
I mean, yeah, I think if it wasn't challenging, I'd be married, right?
Yeah.
I'd have the outcome.
Bing.
I don't know how
So-
picky you are. One never does know. You might have that long list like some of the girls here, the certain
But,
amount.
I mean, I think most
There was a part of the conversation with Andrew Tate where he was talking about, girls will say, oh, I just want a nice guy who's honest and tall and makes a lot of money and can do this. And it's like, well, wait a minute. That's not just. That's not what the word just means. When you ask a guy, he's like, I just want a woman who's nice, maybe got nice titties or nice ass or whatever. And that's it. That's it. Physical attraction and peace.
How tall they gotta be.
Look, I was thinking about this. I was like, being tall, it like makes it a lot harder for sure.
Dude, okay, I have a moment with the audience too.
Uh-huh.
Pearl walked in. Now
Yeah.
everyone knows I'm like a small person.
Mhm.
Like I look like, the Wizard of Oz, the Munchkins, that's me. But I walked in, I was like, whoa, you were
I said, shit, me too.
like, you got like supermodel height.
Yeah, no,
Like,
and
for
that
real.
I would say if there's one thing that's held me back in dating, it is the height. I
You
would
think
say,
so?
Oh.
I said, shit, me too.
oh my gosh, yeah.
Now is that because you want a guy
me,
taller?
It's me. It's my fault. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'd actually say I'd go down to like 5'10". I'd say like an inch or two
But
shorter.
you can't. Then you wear the heels though. You're taller.
No, that's fine. I don't mind if
okay.
I'm wearing heels,
Mm.
but I'm just like being honest, and
Yeah.
maybe that's too picky. I don't know, but I would say that's probably like if I had to pick one thing, the height, that makes it a lot
Mm.
harder.
So what I find when I cover these
Mhm.
panels, yours sometimes we showcase here, is that women are they don't realize how picky they are. They'll say like, oh, I'm
Facts.
not picky, I'm just looking for a nice guy. And then it's
No.
like the list is a mile long. It's like
Mhm.
Santa scroll, it
Mhm.
unfolds, got to make a certain amount of money, you got to be this height,
Mhm.
you have this car and this house and this job. And
Mhm.
so it's just like was that always the case? Well, what's gone on that women are
Oh.
so
I think it always was the case. Absolutely. I think it was always the case. But the difference is in the reach that an average woman can have. On Friday, we're going back. Destiny went back to Fresh and Fit, and we have to cover a couple of the conversations that they had. Not the whole thing because I don't care enough, but the parts where Destiny was really holding Fresh and Fit to account. I'm telling you guys, if this red pill thing doesn't shift, and it stays down the lane of what people think Andrew Tate is and what Fresh and Fit actually are, it's not going to last. It's not going to last.
picky, or is it just like a lack of self-awareness?
I mean, I think it's like
Both.
natural to us. Like
Mm.
if you take our mating strategy down to the roots, it's to get the best possible mate. I don't mind women being picky. I just think it's like, do you deserve it?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. What
It's
are
like,
you bringing to
You're
the table?
250 pounds, Rebecca. You're 250 pounds. What do you mean you meet a guy that makes 6 figures?
Right.
You're 250.
See, like I would be laughing if she didn't make this exact same talking point all the time.
And then they get to the 300 ones. They're even
Everyone
more
wants to see
picky.
wife
Yeah.
score.
It's like,
All right.
what?
Yeah, I saw you had an exchange with somebody that wanted. I don't remember what the ring was. The cost was astronomical.
Oh my God. That was a red pill moment for me. That was early. That was before the channel took off.
I did it. I covered it. I couldn't believe it. I found it. I said she was talking like she deserved, and I'm always like,
Deserved.
what do you bring to the table as a female? I say like to women, you can't just demand all this stuff and then say, well, I give this.
Mhm.
What does that mean?
Mhm.
What do you bring into a guy? And then if you ask them, hey, do you want to keep a nice home? They get insulted. Or hey, do you, maybe you're a little overweight.
How
you care about-
dare you?
You can't say that. You
Mhm.
can't ask them to step up in any way. It seems.
Mhm.
Why?
Oh gosh. Well, I just think like from a young age, we've been told that we're princesses and queens and we deserve to be treated like that.
That's true.
You're an average chick. Why do you deserve to be treated like that? And you slept with the whole football team. Why on earth would he treat you like a queen? And so it's like, Yeah, I just think from a young age, well-meaning fathers
Yeah.
oftentimes like diluted our standards. I even see it in the church. Oh my gosh, are you religious?
Facts.
I'm Catholic. I went to Catholic school.
Oh my gosh, me too. Okay.
I said, shit, me too.
Okay, I need to know if we had the same Catholic
Just kidding. Not anymore. I mean, I grew up in the Catholic Church, but I'm full atheist now.
school experience.
Okay, let's go.
Because I've always been Pearl. I've been maybe more a blue-pilled Pearl.
Right.
But
I said, shit, me too. I've been a blue pill dude for most of my life.
I've always had opinions. And I remember thinking, okay,
Thank
in
you.
the Catholic, did you have chastity speakers?
No.
Oh, you didn't have that?
Chastity.
Oh
speakers.
yeah.
Telling you
Okay,
not to
this is just a Pearl
fuck.
experience. So they bring in, how there's like sex ed in public schools?
Yeah.
We didn't have sex ed. We had chastity speakers. That's why when everyone's like, we need sex ed, and I'm like, okay, I didn't do shit in high school, so I don't know what. Like, I didn't need sex ed to know. So what
You're like, you need chastity speakers.
yeah,
actually.
yeah. But I remember there was like a guy and a girl that came in. It's like Christiniana or something, and Jason Everett. Chat can find it. And they came in. It's like the girl that's been ran through, okay, and her husband that was the virgin till he was married. When you're red pill, you're like, oh my god, and it's like you
can't even absorb that.
It's
like,
yeah, and so she would talk about she was so broke. Like it was the same message, right? And I appreciate that same message, but the message in the church is like, at the end of the day, there'll be a prince waiting for you, no matter what you do, no matter what you do, and that's why I was like, when the guys are like, the girls are worse in the church, I'm like, well, this is why.
Yeah.
Because they say at the end of your whatever, there'll still be a guy waiting for you. That
Is this anything different than Kevin Samuels was talking about? R.I.P. long before he died.
might not be the case,
No.
Rebecca.
No. I'm curious though, because you brought up Catholic school. Like what? Because we're, quite a bit apart in terms of age, but what was it like for you to be in school? Like in terms of, were there a lot of girls who were promiscuous? Because when I went to school, there were girls who did that, but you could like identify, it was like this one over here, this one over here.
That's how it was when I was in school. So I graduated high school in 2008. Pearl is like 5 or 6-ish years younger than me. So I know for sure because of Tinder that the landscape on colleges changed a lot, like directly after I left. So there's you'll talk to professors, well, they can demarcate the difference between the 2012 graduating class and the 2013 graduating class and on. I think I would hope that they're talking about high school, that she would say that it was like JBL was talking about. You can tell that girl was the slut and that girl was the, but for the most part, maybe girls did stuff, but they were ashamed. So you weren't just putting it out there. But let's see.
Here, they had a reputation and a bad one, and all the guys like knew who they were.
Could we define promiscuous? Because that's
Sleeps around.
Again, she's gonna say, well, I think anybody who's not a virgin, even myself. She tries to be self-deprecating in that, but that's Samantha. We know whatever sleeping around more than the average guy would be okay with. However much is going to get you that words think time reputation. There we go. Mike said, I totally agree. The church taught me to put my wife on a pedestal. It just made her a monster. And I found a red pill and put her in check. There we go. My marriage is 10 times better, and she is happier for it. I wish I had the because this is well done, Mike. That is what you have to do, and it makes me, a little bit jealous, because I know that when I was in my last relationship before I was red pill, that I was in, a similar situation. And of course I wasn't married. It was just, a more casual thing, but I was looking to make it not as casual. And I just didn't know. And I didn't know. I never put my foot down. I never was that guy. And it was a month and a half before she just started completely changing, and never went back. So good for you, Mike. Good for you.
Okay, well, so then we go into like, what is sleeps around? I would say 90%, by 1950s standards, 90% of women are promiscuous. They're like,
exactly.
You slept more than 2 people, you whore.
Exactly. So that is not a good definition for this conversation, because we're not in 1950, are we?
So what I mean is sex that's not within the context of an actual relationship, multiple sex partners at once, in terms of like you're dating multiple guys, you're sleeping with them. It's not an exclusive relationship. That's what I define as promiscuous.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. And
it doesn't have to be a strict number. Like there's girls who, I mean, let's just stick within the confines of 0 to 10 because I know, but there's girls who have slept with 3 dudes and have just been passed around. There's other girls who have slept with 5 dudes, but 3 of them were long-term relationships. And the other 2, it was one night stand or whatever. So again, putting a number on it doesn't really help us. It's more about the mentality, and it's more about just the idea of at what point to you, Pearl, does it turn into promiscuity? That's the question that she's asking. She's asking you, your personal opinion. Well, what are we saying? No, what are you saying?
High school. Yeah, there would be. I only had a couple. I don't want to say names. Bethany.
She's gonna just ruin everybody's life. Marianne, you know who you are.
Bethany. Actually, they don't know their last name.
That would be based.
Bethany waited till she was married. There's.
See, no, you're already telling me it's not prevalent though, because you're having a hard time.
Exactly.
Well, I'm thinking, well,
exactly. Even in her own life, even post Tinder, she's having a hard time pointing out the sleuths, which goes exactly to what JBL was saying, is that for the most part, women aren't this promiscuous. Yes, by 1950s standards, but again, we are not in 1950. So if that's the mentality that you have and you're looking at the world through a 1950s lens, well, I mean, what? Are you throwing out N-bombs all over the place too? Because nobody had a problem with that in the 50s.
Again, it depends. Oh my gosh, this one girl I'm thinking of, yeah.
but see what I'm saying? You're able to say like this one girl.
Exactly.
Now it's like I put panels up here and it's girl after girl after. Oh, I don't know. My body count's around 30. Oh, I don't know, 15. Oh, it's constant. It's everywhere. So I'm trying to think like what happened.
All right, what do you guys think? I take away what I just said about promiscuity, but what is the number where no matter what the circumstance, it's too much? Like, is there ever, let's go to an extreme example. Let's say the girl's body count is 200. Is there, and we'll call at 30 years old. 30 years old, 200 bodies is too many bodies. I think we can agree on that pretty easily. What about 100? What about 50? What about 20? What is the number for you that you don't even care about the context? That's just too high of a number. I don't know none of you are going to answer, but the question is out there. What number is too many for any explanation?
Between 20, 30 years ago and now that made women feel like this was a sign of empowerment.
I would say the more crazy stuff was like college. Like that was when, like in high school, yeah, I would say like the crazy stories that I heard were more in like college.
So it sounds like she is talking about the same time when she was in high school, when I was in college. And so the conversation is now about to switch to that 2012, 2013 era.
So,
but why do you think it's viewed as empowering?
Oh my gosh. I don't know.
Bitch, I can do what I want. It's my body, my choice. I don't need no man unless I feel like it.
Oh, that's it. They're not on the Vice panel. You saw it.
Oh, we're going to talk.
We are going to cover that Vice panel. Don't you worry. Actually, check the community tab tomorrow because I have 2 things set up ready to go. That Vice feminism panel and the Destiny on Fresh and Fit. Both are going to be good. Just check the community tab.
I was like, y'all just want to sleep around with no consequences. The feminists said, yeah. What do you mean? I'm like,
hey, we got Divine and Rod in the building. What is good? What is good? Welcome. Happy New Year to you, sir. Sorry, I don't have my stream deck working. I am still working on figuring that out. We got the camera down though. And F you, Nightbot. For this, all caps is perfectly fine. Glad to have you, buddy. We are trying to determine who is the red pill queen. There can be only one.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about, by the way, I'm covering.
Sorry, I want to say one more thing.
Yeah, go.
I just feel like everything.
Is it just me? Because I know she can talk this way, like kind of generally. But she sounds kind of drunk. Is that just me?
In life is your own fault. That's how I feel. That's
personal responsibility.
Yeah, everything in your life is your own fault. So
Yeah, and the
Divine Around, I was asking before, what is the body count number? That regardless of the context, regardless of how many boyfriends or how many unit, what is the number of what is the body count number that is just too high, regardless of any explanation, no matter how many boyfriends? There's a number. Is it 200? Is it 100? Is it 50? Is it 20? Is it 10? What do you say?
the panel that Pearl's talking about, we're going to talk about that. I'm actually going to, audience, I'm going to cover that full panel for you. You're going to see more Pearl in that panel on Monday.
Oh yeah.
But essentially, like, what was that experience? Because it's a panel, you show up, it's supposed to be feminist,
Oh.
anti-feminist. Was it edited? Tell me about it.
So before they go into that, Mike says, I don't have a number, but I definitely don't have a problem if they were long-term relationships. My hang up is one night stands. And you know, of course, this is a complete hypothetical because you will never, ever, ever know a woman's true body count. I mean, maybe, but for the most part, you're never going to know. And so things like this, I think that's a good way to approach it because there's nothing wrong with having sex. Man, woman, otherwise. There's nothing wrong with having sex. So if you're in the confines of a relationship, then I don't consider that promiscuity. There's only so much time. Like if your body count is 50, then you're not really, like the math just doesn't work out. They couldn't all have been serious things. Divine Rod says 4. So you better be able to count them bodies on one hand, or Divine Rod says, you're out of here. You are out of here. Anybody else? What is the number, the body count number that regardless of the context, regardless of the explanation, what body count number is too high?
Oh, it was so edited.
Shocking.
Oh, let's talk about the libs on that panel. So first, there was only 2 real conservatives. Let's be honest. You can't be pro
She's definitely drunk.
BLM and like super conservative. So
Yeah.
they gave us 4. Only it was really just me and Sydney against the world.
Yeah.
Shout out to Sydney Watson. Definitely go check her out. Like I said, we will be covering that panel, so we'll talk all about her. But Sydney Watson is a good one.
Sydney. And
Mhm.
and it was actually 6 hours we were there total.
Damn.
So I don't know how much we filmed. I guess like 3-4 hours we were filming, so maybe like hour post, hour before. I don't know.
And that's cut down to what, an hour?
I think it was like 40
was cut
minutes.
down a lot.
45 minutes.
Oh yeah, you can tell that it's
And
deeply edited.
they edited out these girls. There's a guy girl.
Hey, we got Behemoth in the building. Welcome. So I don't know how familiar you are with the Red Pill space, but these are 2 women who posit themselves as those who can speak to men about what we should and shouldn't be looking for in dating and all that kind of stuff. And both of them have very quickly risen. Pearl a little bit more, but JBL, or Jedediah Bila, her show's Jedediah Bila Live, so we call her JBL here. But she is quickly rising, and in my opinion, is a sharper and much spicier interviewer than Pearl. I think Pearl, she does this. The one on screen right now is Pearl. She does panels and stuff. So those panels are cool, but she spoke with Brittany Renner one-on-one, and it was just whereas JBL, the other woman, spoke to Destiny, the blue-haired liberal streamer, and tore him apart. So again, there can be only one Red Pill Queen.
Eli.
Hey, we got Trad Guy Travels. 100% agreed. 100% agreed, brother. I am doing all I can to find a way for Pearl to not come out of this looking terrible. But between, the Hafiz thing of women shouldn't vote, and then the Brittany Renner conversation where she just didn't push back on anything, and now this, I think you're 100% right. Jedediah is or JBL. I like to call her JBL. JBL is much better at what they're both trying to do. But as Pearl was talking about a little bit earlier, she's focusing on this wife school that she is she's focusing on. And what I thought when she said that was it would be her teaching this wife school. But she's explained it better, where it's going to be a platform where she's going to bring in married women to talk to younger single women about, promiscuity, being a wife, how to cook, all that stuff. Facts. Works cut out on all fronts. But glad you are here, brother. Let me know who. Oh, the running question is, what is the body count number? What is the body count number that, regardless of the explanation, is too high? You know, if she's got a body count number of 7, then if they're all just, you know, the same night, then what? Like, okay, that's not ideal. But what's the number where I don't care how you got to that number? That number is just too high. Byron said, spot on about your observations about Pearl. Well, thank you. So that is why I do what I do.
On the panel.
Biological male trans woman.
I guess
Deeply edited.
They edited out these girls. One, there was a guy, girl, Eli on the panel.
Biological male trans woman.
I guess I didn't know any of this before because I'm just not in the conservative space. Are you familiar with this? Eli has some allegations. The allegations out against him. Sydney on the panel goes, we're talking about Me Too. This is the funniest part. They edited it out. And she goes, that's funny. That's funny that you say that, Eli, considering the
Oh, where's my street deck? This is a great one. You are funny. That is a good one.
Allegations that are out against you with the kids, like it was like selling kids drugs and something with minors. I don't know what happened. I don't know what's true and untrue.
So they took that out.
Of course. I knew as soon as she said it, I was like, they're going to edit that. They also took out.
So when we do that, those of you who are regulars, remind me that I really want to pay attention to not just what they're talking about on that panel, but what did they cut out?
The girl in the front, she was an absolute, I'm not going to say it, but
yeah. Trad guy on point again. Pearl lets people walk over her on her own show. She's improved a bit, but still gives guests too much control. 100%. And it's this exact nail on the head. That can be hidden a little bit when you're on a panel and there's other people, and you know, it can be like, oh, well, I just want to be polite and da-da-da-da-da. When you're one-on-one, it shows. Myron said, Pearl most likely is an animal in the sack. I feel like she would be kind of boring. I feel like that's her brand. Is that like, well, I'm just an average girl, you know, I'm not trying to be Trad says she's not drunk. That's just her personality. Like that one girl at every party. I mean, anybody else? Because I feel like, I don't know.
You know what I'm thinking.
I know which one you're talking about. The one that was like over here.
She had this whole freak out that they just like took out.
What was it about? Do you remember?
I don't. We filmed this in October.
Oh, okay.
I just remember she was like very rude. Like they took out so many parts of the liberals just acting insane. Like they still looked insane. But I promise you, it was.
I don't mind cutting up or blocking this up too much because I talk. You know, it's the last few seconds of the chapter, and then I moved on to something else because we are going to cover this panel. But so Pearl being too tomboyish. We are not here to ask who would we rather fuck. I don't know anybody, age notwithstanding, who would take Pearl over JBL. I mean, you know, maybe if that youth is really, really that important to you, like I said, I cannot imagine that JBL is over 40. And if she is, she looks fantastic for 40. But what we are discussing here today is who is giving the best information, or who is giving the information that they have in the best way. Yeah, she's a little, I mean, you know, volleyball player. She's been around a bunch of lesbians her whole life. And, well, I don't hate on that. But, yeah, definitely very plain. She brought up earlier about how people were telling her that she needs to dress better. Like, you're right. She's just not very girly. But, you know, that can be worked around, you know, especially if that's the case.
10 times worse.
My favorite is the part where you're talking and they start to like psychoanalyze you. Like, oh, how did you get this way?
Guys, we got 5 people in here and only 3 likes. We got 6 people in here and only 3 likes. I would be endlessly appreciative. It is the biggest thing that helps push this in the algorithm. Please, so quick, right here, just boop. And back to it. Thank you so much, guys.
And then the insults came. Why do you hate women? And you're like, I am a woman. And they're like, you could have internalized misogyny. I'm like, oh, here we go.
That's the start. They're like trying to be your therapist. And I'm like, this is why therapy messes women up today.
Did you enjoy doing it though?
Oh, I had so much fun. Put me on another panel. I'm ready. Yeah. I'm ready to go. I'll do it again.
See, I would love to do something like that live, but coming from like news
Facts.
where I know what happens in the editing process, I don't trust any of them.
See,
I really
Yeah, if they had done that panel live, oh, that would have been we would have covered it immediately. But the fact that it's all chopped up, it's from Vice. We know it's going to have a slant. But again, the point here is not to just to just swallow information whole. The reason that's going to be good is because we'll be able to break down so many different things that it's going to be a great example of all of the semantic obfuscation and the liberal bullshit that is everywhere. It's going to be all in one place. So that's going to be a good one.
don't.
when I go into something, okay, this is always my goal. I want to be so likable that even if you edit me the worst way, you still like me and you hate it. That's always my.
Not in the red pill space, honey. It don't work like that. People like Andrew Tate and Kevin Samuels weren't hated because they were too brash. Some did. But the reason they were hated is because of the message that they were See, again, that should be another applause break for Behemoth. I'm sorry, Behemoth. I promise you, if you come back on Friday, I'm gonna have my stream deck set up. You're gonna have all these you know what I mean. But good one. I just yeah, she's just a little there's something missing.
My goal.
You came off very sweet
Uh-huh.
and very like you were just asking questions. Like, what are the barriers? You know, like you're just asking what do you and that's good though.
And then she's like, I don't have legs. And I'm like, we're talking about men versus women.
Wait, y'all gonna see this county, you're gonna lose your mind.
All right, so we're moving on.
I want to ask you about the labels that you
There we
get.
go.
I'm sure things get thrown at you. Like I cover Drew Afwalo here a lot. I don't know how much you know about her, but the pick me label.
Oh yeah.
So I'm guessing you get called.
So for those of you who are not familiar, a pick me, as far as I understand it, is a woman who is saying things that men like, just for the sake of getting men to like her. So you'll see a number, especially on TikTok. There's a lot of females doing, just men-centric type content, and because other girls don't like this, they call this pick me, as in, as you can see it on the screen, that I want you to pick me. That's basically what that means.
Called, a woman hater, a pick me. What do you think about that?
Oh, well, okay. First of all, I was like, what the hell is a pick me? And so then it's like basically you say things so men will pick you.
Yeah.
Hey, Jedi Mike in the building. Welcome, brother. Good to see you. Sorry, I don't have my stream deck up and working. At least we got the camera going, but glad to have you here. We are here to determine who is the queen of the red pill. There can be only one. It may not be either, but I don't know. We got Pearl and JBO, aka Jedediah Bila Live, and trying to figure it out. Welcome to the party, brother. Welcome.
But I'm like, I just say my thoughts. I clearly am not that filtered. You know what I mean? Like, I clearly sometimes I should say less.
I saw you yesterday at a show and you're like, the whales came for me. And I'm like, she's talking about fat people.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, my manager's like,
ooh, maybe we'll do a StreamYard panel then tonight. Maybe.
Yeah. So second of all, I'm like, pick me. That's the insult that you want to get married. Yeah, I want to get married. Like,
but don't you think it's interesting that they label, like, men can't criticize modern women because they'll be labeled misogynist. Women can't criticize modern women because they'll be labeled a pick me. So nobody can criticize these women. Isn't that convenient?
Yeah,
absolutely. It's convenient. Do we think that wasn't designed? That is exactly how these things, when we talk about semantic obfuscation, it's about using a word that always puts you in the right. It's using words and sentences and phrases in that same way, that no matter what position you actually hold, you can flip-flop back and forth, and you're always right, and the other person's always wrong. So if you're a woman, you're always right. If you're a man, especially if you're straight and you're white, you are always wrong.
And then they'll go to the personal attacks, like, well, why are you single? And I'm like, is what I'm saying true or is it not true? I'll be like, Rebecca, 7 abortions is a lot. I don't know what you're doing. I met a girl that had 7. Her name's not actually Rebecca. 7 abortions.
Wow.
7. And I'm like, that's a lot. That is madness. And it's like, is that true or is it untrue? Or should we encourage it to get to 10? Should we encourage it to get to 10?
Yeah. What do you think is the biggest?
I don't really get what joke she was making about pushing it to 10, but that is a lot.
Mistake that younger.
I think before JBL goes on, I think you get one. I think it's immoral, but that's a whole other discussion. If you had a porridge, that's the new word. Instead of saying shmushmushin, we're calling it porridge, because if you got a porridge, see, it works. So if you get one portion, you get one porridge. I still think it's wrong, but if you do that, then you're, we can talk about it. This is like the numbers before, where it depends on the circumstances. If you are paid, or if something like that, we can talk about it. But once you get to a second porridge, dunzo. It says she reminds me of an alternative universe Julianne Moore in the movie Carrie. That's a good one. Yes, I see it.
Girls are making today.
So I missed that. Let's back that up.
Good untrue. Or should we encourage it to get to 10? Should we encourage it to get to 10?
Yeah. What do you think is the biggest?
Sorry. I told you I didn't get it when she said it, right? And then you could see that JBL was like, okay, yeah. One more time.
To 10. Should we encourage it to get to 10?
So this is where you would get the laugh, because remember, she's already repeated the line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think is the biggest mistake that young girls are making today?
Being whores.
Oh, well, I mean, I think your virginity is very valuable, and I feel like it's like giving that to some, like, away,
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Sleeping
Virginity
around.
being valuable,
Yeah,
sleeping
and just
around.
like promiscuity, I would say.
Now, you have one thing that's interesting about you is you're very open about your family. Like, you
Good
always
one, Devon,
will
right?
reference your dad, and you'll
Mhm.
say on the show, like, my dad's in the 1%, the
Mhm.
top. Do you get heat for that? Do people say, oh, to write you off as privileged from the start? Or
Yeah, that's why I don't try to hide it, because it's like
That's
they're gonna
smart, I
find
guess.
out anyway.
Mhm.
No, my dad is like the best person. My dad is so nice. Like, literally, he
My dad is the only way that I have anything to say in this space at all.
helps everyone, and he's so, like, I'll call him crying, and he's like, "Stop it."
So is he that masculine guy that you're like, does your relationship with your dad, or like your family dynamic, did that inform how you feel about male female dynamics in any way, or does that play a role?
See, even the types of questions that JBL is asking. Did we get any of these kinds of questions with Brittany Renner? And Pearl speaks to us for a living. We have a pretty good idea of at least the ideas that Pearl wants to put out there. You had Brittany Renner on the couch right next to you, Pearl. Is she sorry? Has she changed? We don't know. She said it, but you didn't actually nail anything down. You didn't actually push back on anything. So we don't know. Whereas JBL here is saying, well, hold on. Let's dig into what you're saying and see if it really holds water.
Yeah, of course it. I was like thinking, because I would say my dad is like not red pill, like he doesn't know what the hell. I mean, he's been a little bit red pill just because
Because of the content.
No, because of me. I'll be like, Dad, you won't believe this stat I found out today.
I love it. I love
But
it.
yeah, I mean, I really
What's your favorite red pill stat?
appreciated being grown up with like two parents in the home, and especially the more I talk to people that did it, because it's like really sad when I hear about their holidays and stuff. Like, there's so many people that my mom would kill me if I didn't go home for Christmas. And
Mm.
they're like, I'm in England, and there's like other athletes, and they're like, oh no, we're not doing anything for Christmas. I'm like, you're not doing anything for Christmas?
Yeah.
My mom would strangle me.
So what do you want? Like, if you were to look at your
I may or may not have skipped Christmas because I didn't want to go see my family. But that's just a maybe.
life, because the other criticism that will come to you, if it hasn't already, is like people will say, well, sure,
Thank you so much for the likes, guys. I really do appreciate it.
she's talking about traditional roles, but
Mhm.
here she is with this successful YouTube channel, and she's an entrepreneur in her own right. And what do you say to people who say
Oh
that?
my gosh, I thought it was gonna be a hobby. This took up fast.
And why? Why did you think it blew up like that?
Well, I was posting more than everyone else. So, and I actually, it was funny. I got
Yeah, she's right.
out of a relationship, and I was kind of sad. So I was like, I'm gonna just make a show, and then this will like distract me, And then yeah, I just started doing the show. I mean, what do I say to that?
So Divine Around said that single dads, grandparents, gay couples, and wolf packs all raise better children than single moms. Boo-doo. That's the SpongeBob one.
I would say, look it, I'm looking. So
Oh, Pearl's looking in the
Yeah.
chat in case you're in there. We're gonna get to the chat in just a
you
second.
know, I think
Deli.
sometimes people will be like, oh, well, why aren't you married today, tomorrow? And I'm like, look it, I'm learning to cook. I'm talking to wives. I'm doing the best that I can.
You're doing the work.
I'm doing the best I can. You know,
Well, this is precisely why your concept of what is promiscuity, we're going to look at it in a 1950s thing. That's why it's not relevant. Because even the men who want traditional, traditional women are not looking for that 1950s type of woman. Now, that might be an archetype, which we're like, yeah, that's kind of what I want to be doing. But it's not like, you know what I mean? It's not like they're looking for that. They accept a level of, if you're not a virgin, it doesn't mean that you're off the list. But Pearl wouldn't know that because she's not a man.
yeah, that's all I can say.
Listen, people get out of a relationship and eat a lot of ice cream. You started a YouTube channel. I think that's a good thing. You're making people think, all that stuff. Deli, you ready? You got some chats?
Some of y'all went to the club.
That's right.
Some of y'all went to the club.
No joke. People went to the club and drank too much. She created a YouTube channel.
I made a YouTube channel.
There you go. And she's helping you.
Facts. I mean, that's better than going after Tyrone. People said, what happened to marrying your best friend? Well, men wised up and realized, wait a minute, if she sees me as her best friend, how long is it going to be before she starts treating me not like her husband, not like her boyfriend, but like her best friend? Yeah.
She's helping you. All right,
That's
let's
fun.
get some questions from the chat. Deli, you ready?
Yeah. Paula just sent $20, said, Jed, you're amazing.
Oh, thank you. I'll take the compliment.
Somebody just sent her $20 just to tell her that she's amazing. Feel free to do the same.
Samuel said, Jed, you're amazing, and I'm a big fan. I only disagree with Tate's view about having multiple kids for multiple women.
Oh, that's interesting. Do you have an opinion about that?
This dude is so boring. I didn't even hear what he said. Well, let's try that one more time.
Samuel said, Jed, you're amazing, and I'm a big fan. I only disagree with Tate's view about having multiple kids for multiple women.
Oh, that's interesting. Do you have an opinion about that, Pearl?
Oh, that triggered me too when I first heard it.
I don't know what they're talking about.
See, it's hard, okay? 'Cause sometimes I look at things as a society perspective.
Right.
And when you think about it from a society perspective, that's always happened. So who am I to say?
Which society, though? Because you're talking about the 1950s society, which is a very different society than the society in which we live in today.
Come in and say, well, do it my way because I liked it with my parents. So I wouldn't prefer it. I doubt that'd be your first choice either. Wouldn't be who I'd pick, but I think it's silly to say that quality women wouldn't do that because they have for all of history. So
yeah, and it depends on the guy, it depends on the situation. I always say like people have to choose the relationship they want, but I also talk from a societal perspective about monogamy. And the reason I don't tell people what to do, but the reason I believe in monogamy is just I feel like it's a bedrock of society. Like it's something that stabilizes family and
facts. I mean, I guess from just being somewhat familiar with Andrew Tate's takes and him talking about multiple women and multiple children, probably something along the lines of Andrew Tate talking about how he probably has a bunch of children out there from a bunch of different women, and what's associated with that. But I agree with JBL that monogamy is what did she say, a bedrock for society. Hey, we got the Mikey story. Welcome, brother. Happy New Year to you as well. Glad to have you. We are trying to determine who is the red pill queen. Is it just Pearly Things or Jedediah Bila Live? And I think JBL on the screen here, as we call her, I think she is winning. But welcome. Yeah, mahogany is expensive. So is monogamy. But I agree that it is something that stabilizes families, and families are the bedrock of our communities. And so stronger families equals stronger communities.
and that's good for community and good for country.
Exactly.
And all that stuff. But do we want?
I agree with you. I was just thinking, I was like, I'll give the billionaires multiple lives. they got. We need those genes replicated. So I'll give them, maybe 100 millionaires, billionaires.
They're gonna pass.
Pearl's world. Pearl's, which is satire. It's satire. I'm just trying to make it.
Oh, what else you got, Deli?
I can't make it on my
Another
own.
comment
All
from
right.
Steve
We got to pay attention because I forgot how boring this dude was.
said everyone should hit the Vice comment thread asking for the unedited version.
Oh yeah,
That's a good idea.
Please, yeah, do it, Vice.
they'd never show that. No, they
No.
would never do it.
Then Pat Stedman said, see how Tate was edited by Pierce Morgan years ago, how Roosh was edited after appearing on Dr. Oz. Should you
Mhm.
know better than to go on Vice?
Yeah, I just was gonna do it anyway. I was like, you can't.
Yeah.
I still felt like this is just my.
If I was JBL, I would fire dude. I would fire that dude immediately. You cannot have a show about men's-centric stuff. You gotta do your producer. He sounds like this, and like I'd fire him immediately, or just put the questions up on a fucking screen, and I'll read them. I don't want that on my show.
I still felt like I came out more sane than those crazies, even
Let me
however,
ask you this,
however
though.
much they edited it.
Cameras off. Did you get along with those women? Because they look pissed.
Oh,
And
man.
actually, oh wait, Eli tweeted. Did you see it?
Mikey says, did you see Rustlin KD on TLA? He got debunked by Weed, and Pearl was there too. No, I didn't see that. I guess I gotta catch up with that. That is awesome. That is awesome. I know was it last night? Because I remember I was saying earlier that I saw he was talking about something with Hafiz and Pearl. So I definitely got to check that out. So hey, maybe that is the not the next show, but maybe we'll be covering that soon.
Did you see what I tweeted back?
Eli tweeted. I don't know if you
Who's Rustlin KD? I've heard the name before, but I'm blanking.
have that in the copy. I saw it. No, I didn't see the feedback, but this is what Eli. I keep saying it because I'm
gonna check this out later.
going to. It's a biological man, trans woman. Says, ready to get heated. I joined at Vice News for a debate panel on feminism. It's not helpful to platform fascists like Vice did. This- talking about you, about a fascist.
That's a harsh accusation.
But I figured the least I could do is prevent the anti-feminists from spreading even more disinformation. There's that word they love. Oh, somebody they disagree with that hurt their feelings. Disinformation. What did you tweet back? I didn't see.
Oh, I tweeted. Aren't you a predator or am I tripping?
Oh.
No, he could be. He could. I'm just saying, if you're gonna call me a fascist,
Yeah.
I'm gonna point out that.
So how
It's really 2023. We're still using fascist. We haven't retired that yet. Do people still care about being called fascist? All it means now, remember, semantic obfuscation. When they want it to mean any something bad, all it means is you disagree with me. But they can want to have the most authoritarian legal political things coming down from the state, from the government, all of that. That's not fascism because they like it. Semantic obfuscation.
was it when the cameras weren't rolling with Eli and crew?
Well, before they separated the conservatives and the libs. So like they put us in different rooms and it was very like they had people in there and they were like, don't talk about don't talk about the panel stuff, which I understand. I do that too sometimes.
Yeah.
Before shows, I'll be like,
Well, you don't want to miss the good stuff off camera, obviously.
don't talk about the topic, because you want to get it on camera. So I respect that. I understand that. Then we do the panel, which is super long. Oh my gosh, I was so hot too. You know how like sometimes
I thought she was gonna say I was so high.
it gets like hot in these
It's
rooms.
hot in here. I'm dying.
Yeah, you can't.
I don't know, JBL. I think that's just you, honey.
There's no AC. So
Why?
It's like that. Yeah, that's why you see people sweating on the show sometimes.
Oh, that's right. All of Europe is on this. Like, I saw. I think it was a TikTok or Instagram reel or something. It says life in the U.S. and it's just going down one of these streets of a nicer neighborhood where everybody's got their Christmas decorations up. And then it's like life in Europe, and they go to like Germany and this and everything. And they're like, you got to turn down your lights. You can't put your heating above this or whatever it is. America.
They just don't have it there. I don't know. But they basically I forgot where I was going. Oh, then after it was so
Behemoth. Oh, we are gonna be friends, brother. We are gonna be friends. Behemoth said, I watched a stream the other day on Are the Extreme Left just as doomdayish as religious people? This is my entire channel. This is the entire channel. Absolutely they are. Absolutely they are. And I would say that they are worse, not because of the ideas themselves, I think religious, or specifically Christianity, I think religion is the birthplace of some of those horrid ideas in the history of humanity. But again, in 2023, as a just, normal person, the extreme left is a way bigger threat to my safety, my well-being, all of that stuff, than the religious right. Now, if it was 1990, then we wouldn't be saying that, because liberals were all about free speech. Liberals were all about hating big pharma. But apparently not anymore. So now I say it all the time. I gotta get another phrase for hitting the nail on the head. But Behemoth, you did it. Well done. Mike says, to me, the Manosphere queen is someone like Sister Shahrazad Ali. I hope I said that right. Who has been around and has been saying these things for over 30 years. Again, I'll have to check her out. Mikey, this is why I need to join the Discord, so that we could, have these conversations and maybe help each other out a little bit. I know you've been looking to knock on that monetization door. So the link for the Discord is in the description. The party never, ever ends in Discord, and it is free to join. Yeah, exactly.
So awkward, because it was like we both went in our groups and we were just talking shit about the others at like lunch or whatever. But no, I did not get along with them, especially a lady in the wheelchair and Eli.
That's ableist.
I was trying to tell me, oh, let me use my body to test if biological males can compete with women. Sure, let me be the test dummy. Oh my God, these people are crazy.
Yeah, the context for that was that you were talking about how it wasn't fair for biological men to be competing with women, and you used your own example. You said, I'm an athlete, this wouldn't be fair. And they somehow found that.
I still play.
This is, again, why I'm asking if Pearl's drunk. If she's not drunk, then she's talking about a thing that I believe at the time that this aired, this is 5 days ago. This is from 5 days ago. The Vice panel, I believe, just dropped 2 or 3 days ago. So she's talking about something. Remember, this is a seasoned YouTuber, a seasoned broadcaster. And she's just talking as if we all know, like, it hasn't been released yet, Pearl. We don't know what you're talking about. And so, thankfully, JBL comes in as the context for that and da-da-da-da. If she was drunk, if Pearl was drunk, that might be an excuse. But since she's not, what are you gonna do? Hey, we got Trey in the building. Welcome. I agree. Actually, no, I disagree. I don't think she's fake. I just think she only has so much to offer. That's what I think it is at the end of the day. She only has so much to offer. And it's everything that she's heard from other Red Pill, Manosphere stuff. So maybe fake in the sense that she's acting like she knows more than she does, but I don't think she is like grifting or saying things she doesn't believe in. I just think that she's not, necessarily the best person to be doing this. And earlier she was talking about her wife school, where she's bringing in married women. Oh, I just went to give the dog a treat and he's not there. Her wife school, which I thought was her teaching other women how to be wives. I'm like, wait a minute, what? That don't seem like it's going to work. But it's about her bringing in married women to talk to herself and other young single women. That, I think, is her winning strategy. But welcome, Trey. Glad to see you. Rarely do I get to see you on a before the panel. I know you were always working. And Trey also has a new baby. So everybody say congrats to Trey. I know that's taking up a lot of his time. Mikey says that's why you should do a video on the lead and Wrestling KD, because he tried to use Christian talking points to be right, and lead destroyed him. All right, like I said, I'm definitely gonna check that out. Whether I use it or not, I'm definitely gonna check that out after this. And who knows? It could be a show for next week. So thank you very much, Mikey. He says I would take her more seriously if she wore a pearl necklace. Like a necklace made out of pearls from the sea, or a pearl necklace. I don't know. I could go either way.
I play semi-pro right now. I'm still playing.
Yeah, what about I missed what she said?
How it wasn't fair.
Yeah,
oh my God, these people are crazy.
But she's talking about the Vice panel, which nobody has seen yet, and she's just talking about it like everybody does know what she's talking about. And JBL comes in, saves the day, and gives us some.
Yeah, the context for that was that you were talking about how it wasn't fair for biological men to be competing with women, and you used your own example. You said, "I'm an athlete. This wouldn't be fair," and they somehow found that.
I still play. I play semi-pro right now. I'm still playing, and I almost went pro
I don't care.
last year.
I don't care.
I took volleyball to basically the highest level that I could
I don't care.
have, and I'm gonna tell you, dudes would kill us.
Yeah,
They would kill.
Okay. See, the context of the conversation being about trans women in women's sports. That makes a lot more sense when we know what you're talking about. But if you're just, I went semi-pro. Okay, what is the relevance here?
Kill us. I can't compete with dude who's 6'7", 6'5". I can't do shit.
isn't it crazy that to say that is controversial though?
It shouldn't be.
It's crazy.
I
Though.
just don't want to play with dudes. Call me
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, and they brought up bathrooms, all that. Oh, we're gonna get into
I don't
that
want them in the
later.
bathrooms either.
Yeah.
I'll say that. I'll say it now.
Yeah.
Get him out. Get him out. I'm
How
sorry.
bigoted of you.
I'm sorry. I don't
dare
need
you.
that. I don't
Crazy.
need that.
Deli, we got more.
Yeah.
Okay.
We actually got a question from the House of Pain. He
All right.
says, after all the formalities,
all the
what is the
formalities.
most important question should men ask on the first date?
What is the most important question that men should ask on a first date? I want to take a minute with this, and I would love to hear from you guys. The most important question to ask on a first date. Ideally, it would be something that proves to you that the next date is something that you want to do. It shouldn't necessarily be about looking down the line. It should be something that kind of just, without being like, so what are we? Like, figuring that out. Because if you understand where you sit in her mind, then either you can get away with a lot more in, legal stuff. I'm not talking weird stuff. You can get away with a lot more, if you're being a little bit of a dick or whatever. Oh, my nose is itchy. But if you don't ask the right questions, or if she's not feeling you like that, then maybe not. I don't know. I think I would ask, what do you first date, number one serious well, are you asking if I'm asking you a serious question? Or are you saying, should it be a serious question? It doesn't necessarily need to be a serious question. But I think it would be something along the lines of, no, but you should know that. That's tough. Anybody? I'll give you guys another second before we get their answer. I don't know if it's a question, but I would bring up the notion of sex, because how you respond and how you talk about sex is very telling. So depending on what I'm looking for, if I'm looking for something casual and you're talking about getting married and this and that, then I'm not into it. And vice versa. If I'm looking like, oh, I can be serious with this girl, and she's like, oh yeah, just so I don't know if it's a question, but I would definitely ask something along the lines of where are you in terms of sexuality, without directly being like, well, you want to have sex with me?
It's for both you guys.
Are you feminist?
Oh, so we got right in the nick of time. All right, Mikey says, my serious question. Did they say a serious question? I think it was just what's an important question. Let's go back because I want to.
He says, after all the formalities, what is the most important question should men ask on the first date?
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be a serious question. It's just the most important question. So Mikey says, my serious question would be, what are your goals in life? Because that is where your head is at. Interesting. And we also have to keep in mind that depending on where you are in life, some things like, if you're 22, then, goals in life may not really be that important. But if you're 35, 40, older, then certainly, what do you want to do is simply a more, immediate question. Because if you're 20, what you're doing in the future could be 20 years away. But if you're 35, what are you trying to do with life? Are you doing it right now? Because if you're not, then you're not really following that. Byron says, first date question. Do you have access to laundry equipment, and how are your tortilla flipping skills? Okay. I mean, I get the first one. For those of you who have never lived in a place where you need to go to the laundromat, It's terrible. It's terrible. So if she can do that in the home, we good. But hey, if she's willing to take it to the laundromat, then it's no skin off my back. Tortilla flipping skills, I mean, we could work on that, but I would definitely like that to be up there. But all right, let's see what they say.
It's for both you guys.
Are you feminist?
Are you a feminist?
What do you think of feminism?
That's a good one. Are you a feminist? But the problem is that all women will say yes, even if they aren't the feminazi.
I say yes. You just it's nice knowing you.
I want to split the bill.
I want to get as many of these in before they answer. Mikey says it's not about the age. It's about what do you have in common with where you are at in life. Well, exactly. But it's not necessarily about the age. But having a clear goals in life is not nearly as important to a 20-year-old as it is to a 35-year-old, regardless of gender. You know what I mean? So if you're 20, then the most important question that you would ask on a first date is going to be very different than if you're 50 and you're trying to find out what the most important question is. Human said, how about just have fun and don't take the first date too seriously? Feel things out. I guess it all depends on age, situation, goals, and drive. I don't disagree at all. But while the question is being presented to us, I think at least, I mean, you know, I don't know about behemoth. Maybe you a behemoth in the bedroom and a behemoth in the streets, and you got ladies, you know, you're beating them away with sticks. But for those of us who don't necessarily have a lot of first dates, then it definitely can be, you know, not as easy to just kind of be in the moment because, hey, this is the only girl who said yes to me to date in the last 6 months. So if this doesn't go well, then, you know, so on and so forth. But I do agree with you that despite all of that, if you can't step back and just enjoy that person's presence and you're too in your head about, is this going to work? Then it's definitely not going to work out. So I definitely agree with Behemoth. I don't think those are mutually exclusive, but he is absolutely right. All right. Anybody else before we hear what the ladies have to say? What is the most important question a man should ask on the first date?
That's a good one. I don't know what a man should ask a woman.
Do you want kids is a good one too, because
I would ask her a little bit about her family. Like I would get to know the person and the value system that built that woman. You know, let her talk. If she's like, oh, I don't talk to my.
So again, as we're listening to these answers, are these answers? The question was, what is most important for a man to ask on a first date? And now we have women answering these questions. So with the whole red pill queen thing, are these questions coming from a female perspective or are they coming from a male perspective? Obviously, they're coming from a female, but that's what if you want to be in the red pill space, you have to be that.
My family, this. And always more than what you ask is what you pay.
I don't talk to my family, but shit, I'm a nice guy.
Pay attention to. I find that women who bring up other relationships, you'll take them out to a place where there's other guys, see if they look around the room, if they're looking for attention.
Oh, that's good advice. That's good advice.
Yeah, that's what I would do. See how they behave, because then you'll learn a lot about.
So Pearl says, ask if she's a feminist and ask if she wants kids. JBL says, take her somewhere where she has the opportunity to have her eyes wander. She has the opportunity to fuck up, and she doesn't. My vote is for JBL.
About somebody, by the way, they're attention seeking from other men on the date with you. Be surprised. You see some crazy. Okay, Deli.
Yeah, we have one more question. Yep. This one's for Pearl. Pearl, your content is so important for our generation.
Is it though?
I wanted to ask why brown men are so low on the dating hierarchy. What can we do?
I'm paying attention. Yeah, I agree with Mikey. Both bad answers. But if I heard that correctly, was this about brown men? Because that's right up my alley.
Brown men are so low on the dating hierarchy.
I'm brown and I'm short, so maybe this will help.
What can we do?
Brown men? I don't have a good answer.
Is that true?
I don't know.
On the date, I don't even know if I buy the premise.
Nope, that is absolutely true. Indian or Indian, Asian, like all of Asia, Asian men and Black women do the worst on dating apps.
I think it's like he's talking about like Indian Like
Yep.
I'm pretty sure guys
Pretty
in
sure.
India, like it's like Eastern.
First date should be in a church with both parents in the presence of God. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! I'm not even going on that date. That's well. What if it comes from a brown man? Why is that racist? What's racist about the fact that the when they look at the numbers of Tinder and Bumble and Hinge and whatever, they know that they can see if you have brown skin. They can see if you have black skin. And they can cross-reference that with how many matches you get. For the men, Asian men get the lowest numbers. For women, black women get the lowest numbers. What's racist about that?
In Asia have the lowest swipe right on dating apps.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I think it's like basically the only thing you can do is what the like red pill manosphere teaches is money, muscles, game, frame. Like I can't think of anything else to add.
Boom. And there it is. There it is. Just do what the red pill people say. I have nothing to offer you except what other people have already said.
How much do you like? I don't know how you identify yourself in this like manosphere,
Zim.
red pill. Like, how would you identify yourself in the space?
Oh my gosh, I was thinking about this the other day. Like, I wouldn't consider myself like I always try to give credit where a lot of like the ideas came from, and like there's people I really respect in the space. Like
Rollo
Rollo. Like,
Tomassi.
I think he's a genius, honestly.
Called it.
I would say I'm more of like a cultural commentator with a
Okay.
show about relationships. That's more what I would identify as.
Then and that's fine. That's fine. I think if she focused more on the brand being about, hey, we're just talking about dating, as opposed to being associated with the manosphere or the red pill space, I don't think she would get as much hate, or I don't know if it's hate, but I don't think she would get as much scrutiny. I think that's the word. So Mikey before said the notion that Asian men get the lowest swipe rate and black women get the lowest swipe rate is somehow racist. So come on, I don't think most Indians would like to be called brown people rather than just say Indian people. Well, maybe he wasn't Indian. The idea is that the woman on the other side does not know whether I'm Indian or Pakistani or Arab or whatever. They just see brown. And I don't blame them for thinking, oh, can I have your bubs and bajin? Ask any woman ever. They've gotten that DM from an Indian man. So in the same way, we need women to be accountable for the shit that they do as a whole, even if woman, you haven't done these things. You have to understand that in the broader landscape, women are doing these things. We also have to be aware of the fact that the way we look really affects how women view us. And the fact is, if you have darker skin, it doesn't work out for you as well. Now, it doesn't mean it's not going to work. It doesn't mean it can't work. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It's just the numbers.
What do you think is important about the messages? So I've had Rollo on here a bunch of times. And what I like about him is that he really digs deep into the content. So he's not just spewing talking points. This is a guy who's like done his research, has his stats, but
which I would agree with, especially in comparison to Pearl. But even Rollo is so old school that it seems like because his book was like the red pill Bible that everybody read, the Rational Male, and as this space was growing, that he just kind of got comfortable with the fact that he was that guy. And in the same way Pearl was talking about the 1950s, Rollo just never really updated his views.
What do you think in terms of the messaging that they have for men? What do you think that's good about that? Is there anything you think is bad about it in terms of what they're saying to guys?
I think the self-improvement stuff is good. Like, I think always like that's like what they all say. They're all about self. I think mine is Rollo, because I would say Rollo does more like the research and development, as he says. I would say
great comment from Demine and Rod. Best dating tactic: hide power level until you F all the nonsense out of them, because then you still have somewhere to go. Well said. Yeah, Mikey is right. Rollo has been under fire lately. Ever since he took Fresh and Fit's side in the beef between Abba and Preach and Fresh and Fit, and he went hard for Fresh and Fit when clearly they were wrong. ever since then, I mean, I haven't followed him, but if he's under fire again, you know. Hey, we got indie film in the building. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, the stream deck is down, so unfortunately, you're gonna have to go back to the voice sound. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are trying to determine between Just Pearly Things and Jedediah Be Alive, aka JBL, as we call her here. Who is the real Red Pill Queen? Welcome, brother. Glad to have you. Oh, I'm asking everybody. So, indie film. What is the, let's say you're single and dating. What is the body count number that, regardless of the context and regardless of the situation, that number is too high? So, let's say you're dating, and for however reason you figure out the exact number, which you never ever will, but you find out that she's got a body count of 10. It's like, all right, that's kind of up there, but she was in mostly long-term relationships, and then a couple casual ones here and there. Is that can be explained away. If you got 200 bodies, that's too much. So, what is your number that, regardless of the context, body count is too high?
All the self-improvement stuff I think is great.
See, I see. What's interesting to me is the
She already said that.
people who are bothered by the Rollos and the people who like watch your channel and go insane. I mean, I'm sure there's women at home that watch your channel and they just like lose their
Hate
minds over it.
watching.
And I'm curious to ask you, like, what do you think about what kinds of men are bothered by content in the Manosphere? Like, what do you think their life looks like?
Oh
Hello.
my gosh, I have a guy that just came to mind. I had a guy. I'm not going to say the name. Okay,
But she might.
This guy, Kamel.
I knew it's coming.
It is terrible. Never, ever, 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 ever tell Just Pearly Things a secret.
And he was on our show. Oh, please don't look it up. Oh, please don't.
So indie film says body count 15 to 20, but I have a rule where I never ask about past relationships. That is a good rule because she is not going to be honest with you. Even if she's not lying, there's going to be situations where you would count it that she's just be like, oh, that doesn't count. So I think this is a good rule. But again, hypothetically, if we were to count, and yeah, I think once you're past 35, then that's a high number. I think 15 you could probably explain away. 20 maybe, but that's a lot of fucking dicks. That's a lot of dick fucking. Like he says, to me, body count can be subjective. No, body count is a number because people change their views and lifestyle. No, the count is the number of people. That is not subjective. If you slept with 4 dudes, it doesn't matter if you didn't feel like that was really making love, so you call it 3. It's not subjective. It is absolutely the definition of objective. It is a number.
That's a cat. We keep going. I don't care. And he was
Exactly, Behemoth.
in one of my early shows,
Yeah.
like super early on, like first, I don't know, 5-10 episodes. And he was messaging me when all that stuff was talking about like submission and like Allie's TikTok or whatever was going viral. And he was telling me he was like what, you want to be owned by a guy? Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I just kept thinking beta. I'm like, you've never had a girl listen to you, huh?
And shout out to Darshawn McAway, who is a good friend of the channel, who was talking about this word, this word submission, and how not even just women, but as Pearl is saying, everybody sees this as such a dirty word. And he was talking about what is really meant by submission in this context is just smooth communication. That's it. It doesn't mean that as a woman you don't get an opinion. It just means that at the end of the day, I as the man have to take charge. So one of us has to be in charge, and I care about you and love you and want to make you happy and keep your opinions part of my decision. But at the end of the day, there could be only one.
Yeah, they seem weak. They seem, sometimes very lazy because it takes a lot. I mean, these guys are so tough on guys. Like, they're really tough. It's like, get your shit together, get in the gym. Like, you're responsible for yourself. You need to earn the money.
So Mike is saying how you feel about the body count is subjective. then I say subjective. If your views are about where the person is at now, then the past, the number doesn't matter. Well, that's exactly what the point of the question. I agree with. I absolutely agree with how you feel about the number is subjective. So, and that's why it's a question. Well, Divine and Rod said 4. Divine and Rod said 4. So if you need, even if you can count on one hand how many men you've been with, you might still not be good enough for Divine and Rod. Whereas with others of us, it's subjective. But that number is not.
And you got to be able to protect your girl. You got to know your self-defense. It's like if you're sitting at home and you're lazy playing the video games, I mean, you're going to be wrecked. You're just, if you don't want to be motivated and you're comfortable in your laziness, these guys are going to rub you wrong.
Yeah.
But what about the women? The women who are triggered by you, who are those women?
Whales. Sorry. I mean, beautiful, majestic creatures that live in the sea.
So people who struggle with obesity is where you get. But who else?
Who else?
Are they really struggling though? Are they really struggling? I just saw it was a clip from a Crowder thing where there was this TikTok of a girl with a huge belly just out, and she was wearing like a crop top, like a skinny person would. And she's just singing this song about, I can have my belly out because this, that, whatever. And it's like, yeah, sure, you can do whatever you want. But to act like it's not a big deal that you are obese. We're not talking about a little chubby, like obese. She had a second set of boobs. She had her boobs, then she had another set of boobs, and then she had her stomach. That's not the way humans are built or meant to be built. And the saddest thing, she was singing, I promise, guys, I'm going to fix this weekend. I got a lot going on. The saddest thing about that video was that she was saying, I'm still beautiful, I'm da-da-da-da. And the fact is, she had a very cute face. But as Pearl says, nobody is a 10 at 300 pounds. Byron said there's an early Manosphere guy named Barbarossa. His content was spot on. What happened to him? That's what we need. Spot on content. That is what we need, especially because those of us who follow Manosphere red pill type content, but don't want to be in that space, we need more people who are spot on.
I would say girls that are like very promiscuous get triggered when I talk about like body count. I would say that oh my gosh, feminists hate me. They look at me. Did you see that panel? They hated me. They did hate
and
I'm like, I have been.
So Mikey says, I find it hypocritical. Pearl said that. And when she was on Leeds Live, she had 2 overweight girls with her at her place. Which part's hypocritical? I don't know what you mean. If you could elaborate a little bit. I'm not sure what she said that you're referring to.
And perfectly polite. You see when she called me pretty, I'm like, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't even mean to. She was trying to insult me. Anyways, yeah, I would say feminists, girls that like are super into OnlyFans club, like that sort of thing, and whales. Number one is whales.
Do you know why they hate you? Like, do you? Because my perception, like the way I feel about it, is that they hate you because you're saying stuff. There's truth to it. If there wasn't truth to what you were saying, they wouldn't hate you. They would just be like, oh, who cares?
Yeah.
There's truth to it. And also it makes them reflect on their own choices. So now if you're talking about how female promiscuity is not empowering and they've been promiscuous and they bought the story that was somehow empowering, they're listening to you and they're like, we got to shut her up.
That's exactly what I was saying before. This is exactly it. Is that you are, it's not that, people like Kevin Samuels and Andrew Tate were just so edgy and whatever that people couldn't even get past that to listen to their message. Some people like that, sure. But it was the message itself, especially Kevin Samuels, who's speaking directly to women who on their own accord called him to ask him about their life. And still, they hated him. So Mikey said, I find it hypocritical. And I asked to elaborate. So when she was talking about how she felt about overweight women, so I'm not understanding what's hypocritical. Like, are you saying that you would expect her not to speak to anybody who's overweight? And then she does the panel, at her house. So what's the what I'm not understanding the hypocrisy. Byron says those 300-pound girls will pay your warrants. You damn right.
See, and here's the thing. A lot of times we have this narrative like, oh, they bought the story when they're young. Da, 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 da.
Mhm.
I don't really believe that. I think deep down on an innate level, we all know. Because what's the first thing that girls call each other when we're mad? You're a hoe. Why are you saying that if it's a good thing? I feel like sometimes that's a cop-out that women use where they'll be like, oh, I bought into da, 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 da. I'm like, did you? Did
So
you?
you don't think
Did you know
that women bought the story? Then why did they do it if they didn't buy the story?
They just wanted no consequences. And like, honestly, there really aren't a ton, like, even, I mean, you're a generation older, but I asked my mom, I'm like, do the hoes get married too? She said, yeah. So at the end of the day, there's really not a lot of consequences for any of it.
See, I think they have to have bought the story to an extent because there's too many of them that aren't comfortable being promiscuous. Like they'll do it, but they go home, they're miserable. They cry about it. They call their friends. They're mad that that guy.
This is what the red pill queen needs to offer us. The female perspective on the things that we are talking about, the things that we are caring about. That is true diversity. Not just because she has a vag, but because her ideas are different. Her experience is different. So we got a comment here, and then I want to back that up. So Mikey's saying, she said she not for whales and yet hangs out with whales. Okay, I mean, I don't know if I would use the word hypocritical there because I don't think she ever said I will never speak to. I'm sure that those women have seen her content and are aware of her position on being fat. If she was saying these women are beautiful, they're amazing, even though they were fat, then that's hypocrisy. But at no point did Pearl ever say, don't even speak to a woman who's over 250 pounds. Like, and again, they're not talking about friendship. We're talking about dating. Doesn't matter how fat you are when it comes to your friends, does it? I mean, it matters but in the context of you hanging out with them, that doesn't change. You know, if your boy is your boy and he gains 200 pounds, you're not going to dump him because he's fat. I don't see. I don't see the hypocrisy.
Yeah, they're mad the guy didn't call them back. They're expecting that guy to behave like a boyfriend when it was really clearly just a hookup. So they're so upset about it.
Remember Cherie?
That they're then trying to map out with their friend on the phone, like, why doesn't he like me? Because it's like they bought the story that somehow they were going to be promiscuous and it was going to feel good and they were going to get what they wanted or something beneficial for them out of that situation. And they don't. They're all miserable. I think like there's a hesitance to point out that a lot of women who followed feminist advice, they're just so unhappy. They don't reflect, like they're promiscuous but unhappy. They're on birth control, unhappy. They're climbing the corporate ladder, unhappy. Why no self-reflection in the process, do you think?
Because you don't have to. Where is the need? Where is the need for self-reflection? As Pearl just said, there's no consequences for any of this. She just asked her, you know, you're a generation older. The hoes do get married, right? Yeah, they get married to the beta providers. They have their fun with the alpha dudes. They hit the wall, become an alpha widow, and realize they need somebody to provide for them. And they go and pick up some loser dude who she's never going to respect. That's what happens.
I just kind of have a different view on it.
What's your take?
I just think they liked the party life. I just think it was fun. You know what I mean? Like, okay, maybe how many girls do you
hold on? Well, actually,
really know that are really climbing the corporate ladder? I mean, you think you lived in New York, right?
I did, yeah.
Maybe you knew more of them, but I'm like, most girls that I know just have average jobs. And most girls in general have average jobs. They're not climbing anything.
See, I know a lot of girls that are trying to compete with men, like in the cities. And I grew up with a lot of them that were like, I want to be the manager. I want to be the CEO. I want to be like, that's a sign that I've been successful in life. And they forewent having children for a really long time.
And that's the buying into the story. That's the buying into the story. That you could push, you know, whatever it is until after you've established your career. And then, you know, you're going to have this highfalutin career and having a baby is not going to mess with that. And that you will get happiness, value, satisfaction from the things that men hated doing forever. But we did it for you.
In order to do that. So I think they exist, and they're, you know,
This is just, I'm just saying by and large, the average
Yeah.
salary is like 35,000
Yeah.
a year for women. So like by and large, women aren't climbing the corporate ladder. Like there are some, right? Maybe like 10, 15%, but I would say like by and large, it's more just like it was fun.
so they
I think
just want to
women-
have fun.
Yeah,
But
I
so
think-
you believe that modern women are deriving enjoyment from that pro promiscuity structure. You believe they're not unhappy at their
No, I
core?
think they're unhappy. Like, how do I put it? When the consequences happen.
Mhm.
So like when they sleep with a bunch of people and then like everyone finds out and they're like, oh shit, you know, now. But dude, I think like to start, yeah, they're having fun.
Mm.
And then, you know, life catches up to you. It's kind of like you eat 10 cheeseburgers. Every time you eat the cheeseburger, it's fun. You're happy. But then you're 300 pounds. Rebecca.
Yeah.
Or I mean, even a much more serious and maybe a little bit darker of an example is drug addiction. As somebody who's been a drug addict myself, it's not like I wasn't aware of what I was doing when I was doing it, but all I cared about was the immediacy. And of course, you know, with drugs specifically, they will change how you view things. But hey, feminism is a drug.
So that's how I see it.
Yeah, see, I don't think they're having fun. I
Mhm.
think they're programmed little robots. I think they're largely miserable, and I think they can't change because they've been told that that's what they should be doing.
They're both right. They are miserable, but they combat that misery with these fleeting moments of fun. So you have miserable women who are out here making bank, have no respect for any man, have need no accountability for anything that they do. So they're just aimlessly living. They have no direction. They have no passion. They've been told to chase the bag, and that's all they do. That's all there is to their life.
It's crazy though. You look at like college girls coming out today. Some of these body counts. How you coming out of college with 15, 20 people?
You're telling me.
I mean, did you study, girlfriend? What did you do?
Study that dick.
Like, I don't understand where that kind of time comes from. Honestly.
Oh my God. No. Oh my gosh. The girl on my show, the one who I was like, okay,
Jedi Mike, are you still here?
I'm going to tell you this story. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm all over the place.
She may give the names away
Look
too.
look at Amy. And she comes on my show and we're talking a show about body count, right? How many bodies is too many bodies? Questions like that. I don't usually, the only time I ask people their body count is when I say, is body count important? And they say no. And then I say, then what's your body count? But the point is,
And then they're like, well, I don't have to tell you that.
isn't to get their body count. The point is to show it's important, right? Because otherwise everyone would just be like this, you know. So on this show, as a joke, I was like, what's you guys' body count? And I said, ha ha, you don't have to say it's okay. Like I was kidding. She's all this pro sex girl. So she's like, oh, I'll say it to get rid of the stigma.
All right. Pro sex girl. Pearl is telling this story. So it has to be a high number. I'm going to say, let's go with 200. I've been using that as the top round number. It's 200.
Are you sure? She says yes. Okay.
Anybody want to venture a guess? How many bodies did this sex positive chick have?
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. This girl threatens to sue me because she said her body count on live.
That's ridiculous.
Why did you say it?
You're not even going to tell us the number?
So litigious people. Oh my God. Sex positive. That's a word that just popped into my head. Do you watch any of this, like The Bachelorette or any of that stuff? You watch any of those shows?
Oh my gosh. My team used to watch it in college, but I would get so bored. And then I would just give my opinion. Imagine watching The Bachelorette with me giving my opinions on things.
I would watch that. I'm not gonna lie.
They stopped inviting me. I sat there like,
I said, shit, me too. Not with the Bachelor, just with everything. That's why I started this channel, because nobody want to talk to me about any things I want to talk about. What do we got here? So like I said, I'm saying she said not for whales. Yeah, not dating whales. She's not dating the whales, bro. We're talking about two different things. She didn't say don't be friends with whales. She said if you are a man or if you are somebody interested in women, don't date whales. Or I don't even think she said that. I just think that she was generally making the observation that people who want to date women typically don't want to date fat women. That is not relevant to what people are looking for in friendship. physical attractiveness is not an aspect of friendship. So again, there's two different things. If she was dating a fat chick, that would be hypocritical. Other than that, it is not against what she's saying. The claim is that men do not find fat women attractive. How does it go against the notion? How does it say that men do find fat women attractive simply because she was hanging out with attractive women or fat women? How does it change how men are attracted to women simply because Pearl was hanging out with fat women? That is what you are saying, that it's hypocritical. In order for it to be hypocritical, it has to cross over the original message. And I don't think it does, but maybe I'm wrong. So you can correct me. Anyone said 4 years of college, 5 in a year. I mean, it's not that hard to do for a woman. It is not that hard at all. That's precisely the point. That's precisely the point. It's not hard at all. What's hard is coming out of college without 20 bodies. The fact that you're, not one of these youngins, and you're saying, well, 5 guys a year, every year. Like, okay, you got 1 year where you kind of whatever you're doing, whatever, and you got 5 guys in that 1 year. Again, that's something we can talk about. But if you're averaging 5 dudes a year, that's 6 dudes. 6 dudes a year would be 2 months each. Is that what we're talking about in long-term relationships? Is that what we're talking about when it's sharing, making love or whatever? I'm not saying you have to make love every time you have sex, but that is a lot of time to just get ran through. Just is. Behemoth said 200. I wouldn't consider that a main hobby. Yep.
They're like, Pearl, like, we don't care. We're like, if you think it's stupid. But I started watching the recaps and I liked those better. There's so this is a channel called Bachelor Fan Takes. So sometimes I'll watch the recaps of seasons.
So it's interesting to watch because especially if you're in this.
So a lot of you are tuning out right now. 2 women talking about The Bachelor. I get it. But stick with me. I don't know what they're going to say. But I believe there is something that when women are talking about women's stuff in the context of who these 2 women are, there's something for us to learn. Mikey Story says, most women will never tell you the actual number. Yep. Because of the bad stigma that comes with body count for women. 100%. That's why I was a complete hypothetical when we're asking what is your top number. It's hypothetical. You're never going to know. And that's why I think indie film has the right type of mentality, and just don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. If you like her, then it doesn't matter, because either you're not going to know and you're not going to know. Potentially you could find out, oh, she's, whatever. But that's only 1 out of 3 options. Men love to complicate their lives and justify why. And he says, what if it was only 3 in a year, but they were all the same night? Yep, that's a lunch break. Yeah, 5 guys in a year is only 30 minutes of her time. Well, depending on the guys. Maybe if she's fucking you, but 5 times. But
area and you're doing this kind of content, it's interesting to watch. First of all, if you go to older episodes, you can see like how much male-female dynamics have changed, even in terms of what's presented to the public in the last 15 years. Much more traditional. Like if you looked at,
so that would be really interesting to take a look at, is what did, what is The Bachelor on NBC or one of these major things? I don't even know how old the show is. Let's just say 2000. What was acceptable to show on TV in the context of dating in 2000 versus 2023? That would be very interesting to look at. And, for us not watching The Bachelor every single year for 15 years, they have this perspective.
Some of the first episodes versus what you see now. But there was a girl on it recently, a couple of seasons ago, and she was sex positive. She actually showed up, and the first thing that she did was pull out a dildo.
Katie Thurston.
I
remember,
and she was like, and these women are like kind of horrified that guys would care about body count. Like the guys get to the end and they say like, hey, you're sleeping with a bunch of girls. I can't do this. Like you're supposed to be in love with me. And the girls are like, oh, this is outrageous. And the audience loves what the girls are saying.
And this is I've told this story a couple times, but for those of you who missed it, there was a time in high school when I started really, as I told you guys, I was super blue pilled, super beta, super whatever. But I was starting to like, hey, wait a minute, this gynocentric feministic, maybe it's not 100% making sense. Maybe Disney doesn't have the blueprint on how to get married. Maybe rom-coms aren't documentaries. And I was talking to this girl, and I found out that she, had slept with multiple of my friends. Like not, I mean, maybe 2 or 3, but again, this is high school. So if you're fucking 2 dudes in the same clique, then what else are you doing out there? And I just lost a lot of respect and attraction for her in that moment. And so I went to some other friends, a female friend, 2 female friends, and I asked them, like, I understand that, women's liberation and independent and all of this stuff, that, it should be something that I don't care about. But I hear this and now I'm feeling differently. Is that wrong of me? And they both told me yes. They both told me I was being bigoted and that I need to suck it up, or I don't remember the exact wording, but they both told me that I was wrong for simply having a completely rational reaction. Divine was talking about the lock can be a lock that can be opened by any key is worthless. Key that can open many locks is a legend. She was not a great lock. Mikey says, when it comes to TV shows, controversy sells all the time. Right. But in 2023, the type of controversy is going to be different than the type of controversy in 2000. And so I'm just saying in general, because there's 2 women talking about The Bachelor, that it may be like, oh, this is, what are we doing? But the point is, the culture actually has changed. It's not just that we're discovering new things and we're thinking about, the culture has shifted. And I think here we all understand that. But the point is, so many people don't. So many people would be surprised to even be presented with the notion of thinking about the differences between what was on TV and dating shows 20 years ago. They just don't have to. Why would they think about that? They don't have to.
They love it because they're like, yeah, girl power. In the meantime, I'm sitting there like, if he really loves you and you're saying you love him, you shouldn't be able to go into the next room and sleep with somebody else, honey. Something's broken inside you.
Oh, you're talking about Hannah Brown or whatever.
Oh, yes.
When she slept with I'm like, what guy wants to marry? Producer. You want to marry a girl that's proposed to a girl that slept with another dude 3 days before?
3 days before. Would you sign up for that? Deli, you going down the aisle or no?
No.
Deli's like, leave me out of this. But seriously, I mean, I don't understand what's so broken. See, what bothers me is I feel like there's something broken in women because, and I keep going back to like, it's not natural for us to behave this way. I don't feel like it's natural for women to behave this way. And like, what is broken that you can't even understand now that a guy cares that 3 days ago you were sleeping with someone else and now you're in his bed? That's nasty.
Yeah, I do feel like hypergamy is natural. Like women like monkey branching and dating out. I went to an art museum and there was paintings of girls being hypergamous.
You get a red pill lens on a museum walk.
Yeah.
Behemoth asks, have you heard of the Madonna whore complex? I have not. Please enlighten me. Is it the Madonna whore or the Madonna / whore complex? I think I've heard of it. I'm not too familiar with what it is. If it's something short, then you could explain it. Otherwise, I'll pull up the Wikipedia real quick. Mike says, I remember many years ago, you couldn't even see a naked pixelated person, whereas you can see that now. Sex positivity. Now the question is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, it depends on the context you're looking. But that's the type of thing that we are trying to extract from this this conversation. Yeah. All right. Let's pull this up. What do we call it? Madonna horror complex. I should know this as a psychology major. Madonna horror complex. Freud. Let's see. I just want to wiki. There we go. Can we see this? Whoop, wrong button. There we go. Okay. Also the kind of Madonna mistress, first identified by Freud. Where am I missing? It's said to develop in men who see women as either saintly Madonnas or debased prostitutes. Men with this behavioral complex desire a sexual partner who has been degraded, the whore, while they cannot desire the respected partner, the Madonna. Freud wrote, where such men love, they have no desire, and where they desire, they cannot love. So I guess what it's saying is that there is really only two boxes that we can look at when it comes to this stuff. All right, so a psychological complex is said to develop in men who see, yeah. So yeah, it's a dichotomy where it's either she is the saint or the sinner. Hey, we got Dietrich's in the building. What is good? What is good? Does it though? Does it though? That's your opening message, bro. Come on, come on. I'm just kidding. Glad to have you, brother. Not saying it's a legit thing, just interesting. No, definitely interesting. I knew I'd heard of it. Like I said, I went to school and got my degree for psychology, so it definitely came up at some point. I just never, I wasn't completely familiar with what it is. But so if I'm looking forward at, because you just asked if we heard of it, so I'm curious as to, are you? I'm trying to connect the dots. Are you saying that that's relevant because shows like that will foster this type of complex? Is that what you're getting at? Anyone said in the next Bachelorette, the Bachelorette is a trans woman, and when the men find out and they try to leave, they are ashamed and and they stay and they get right up the butt. No, I added that part. Even Ozzy Osbourne's show would never have been played in the 70s or 80s, even with the bleeps. Yep, that was groundbreaking for how raw it was, even though it was an MTV reality show. And compared to, like the true crime stuff that we have now, that you wouldn't consider the Osbournes raw. But again, this was 25 years ago. Behemoth asked, do you think a lot of this is lingering effects of religion? I love Behemoth's questions. So I will say yes. I will say yes, because I think it is brought on by the lack of a moral framework that is possible, but not uniquely so, with religion. So yes, religion can provide you with a moral framework that for most people who follow the religion, it's a good guiding principle. But in order for that to be the case, they have to ignore whether it's the Bible or the Quran or whatever, you have to ignore things that would not be accepted in society. So we now have these, what you would call them, like reformed religious people. You don't see very many young Earth Christians or people who believe the whatever, like from Genesis. You don't find a lot of people who find that to be a scientific textbook. They understand that it's, it was written in the time it was written and so on and so forth. But because of the religious right, the political religious right in the 80s and 90s, that pushed a lot of people away from religion without providing the replacement moral structure. And so as somebody who is an atheist, and as somebody who very much respects Judeo-Christian values without respecting Judeo-Christian beliefs, I absolutely think it is lingering effects of religion. Religion cornered the game on morality and being a good person, but also attaches unverifiable, supernatural, divine things that you cannot blame people for not accepting. And so if you can't accept that there's a sky daddy, and so you throw the baby out with the bathwater, you get the Bachelorette. Clip that up. Tell me that's not a fucking banger explanation. Great question, Behemoth.
Allie took me to a museum and she was showing me. I'm like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
these girls have always been the same.
So if you get married, what do you want that marriage to look like?
Ooh. She's gonna. Oh, this is another one I want to take a whack at. If she gets married, I think she's gonna say a pretty typical thing. thing of, I want to be taken care of. I want my man to be making money. I don't have to worry about anything. I don't necessarily not want to work at all, but I want to be the mother. I think that's what she's going to say. And I think she's going to qualify it by saying, I think that's what a lot of women want, but they're not honest about it. That's my guess. Mikey Story says, I find it interesting that what religion says and what the laws of the land says can be two different things. Yeah, very much so. I think that is a very good thing, because I don't believe that anybody should be forced into a religion or anything like that. Whereas I believe people should be held accountable to the laws. Now, that certainly depends on what the laws are. That's a whole other conversation about which laws we're talking about. But I would not want, I would not want people to be forced to be in a religion, and I would not want people to be forced to turn away from religion. What I want is for culture to develop in such a way where the need to believe in this, that, and the other falls away, because the moral framework is already there in a secular manner. If you want to believe in whatever, that's great. You can do that. But in terms of the laws that we have, as long as what you believe and what everybody else believes fits together, then, we can work out the details. But if you are going to say, well, if a woman steps out on her husband, then we get to string her up in the town square and stone her to death. Well, not really down with that. Sorry. And you can't, not you, but if you're a Christian, you cannot get away from the fact that is in your holy book. And so I think it's a very good thing that the laws of the land do not follow the Bible or the Quran or anything like that.
Married, I would like to have a guy that I can try. I look at it similar.
So the question was, her marriage. What does she want if she gets married?
In my relationship with my dad, which I don't know if is that weird? I don't know. I was thinking.
Nope, that's Sigmund Freud. Speaking of Sigmund Freud, that's right up the alley, and that is what good parenting will do. Is that it will provide you with a model of what a healthy relationship is, and what a good partner looks like. So if you're a woman, you would look at your dad as an anchor for how you judge other men, and vice versa for men and their mothers. Of course, we're just talking about straight people. I'm not gay. I can't speak to that. So deal
about this the other day. But
some will have a problem with how you worded it, but it's up to you. It's your word.
Okay, because I think of my dad, and same with my brother. I'll give you an example.
Guys, if I could get 2 more likes, I would be so happy. Please, just 2. Thank you so much.
I trust my dad so much. I hate accounting. My dad makes me do the accounting myself every month. And every month I'm like, why can't we hire an accountant? I don't understand why I do this myself. And my dad's like, look at it. You have to know your numbers. You have to da-da-da-da-da-da.
My dad's like that too.
Yeah. And I'm like, fine. And I do it because I trust my dad. Because I'm like, my dad wouldn't steer me. And same with my brother, Adam. It's really similar too. And that's kind of a relationship that I'd like to have similar with my husband, where even if I disagree with him, it's like you trust his judgment.
So would you want to work?
Did anybody catch that? Something that I did.
I'm okay with not working.
See, told ya.
Yeah. See, and it's funny because we talk about who bought the story, and I feel like I bought a lot of the story for years. I really did. I was somebody I came out of college and I was like, I really didn't want to work that hard. I really didn't. In fact, I got offered a great job with Lancome when I first came out in makeup company, and they were like, you have to travel. And I was like, oh no, I'm not traveling for work. I don't want to do that. I want to sunbathe on the back, and I want to have my summers. But I did buy a lot of the story of don't lean on a man. It's dangerous to lean on a man. You've gotta, it was an expectation that society had that I was going to follow some sort of work path.
So Mikey's story says, if Pearl said she's attracted to you and wants to be with you, would you say yes because she's your type or based on her looks? I would definitely. Besides the fact that she's 1.5 feet taller than me, I would be interested in seeing if there was anything there. That's not a deal breaker for me. I think it would be a deal breaker for her. But if not, I don't think she is ugly. I don't think she is, just as a person. The things I'm attacking here are her place as the, and I'm putting this label on it. I don't think she called herself the Red Pill Queen, but, It's a good thumbnail, right? So that's really what I'm attacking. So she was like, "Hey, I'm interested," and then she's cute. Fucking why not? But that's really I'm not really putting myself out there, so it doesn't take much for if you are going to approach me. You can't be 300 pounds. You can't be a raging blue-haired feminist, and you can't be super liberal unless you don't really care that much about that shit. But other than that, as long as you're nice, as long as you provide peace, as long as you're not trying to change who I am, and as long as you can watch this show and not hate me, sure, why not?
So I think it's interesting, like, to see all of these women that do that and then land. I'm trying to like shake them. Like, is this something you really want, or is this something that you think you're being told that you should want, but in reality, inside, you're like, that's not for me.
Quit one job, I'd do it
Thank you so much for those likes, guys. Thank you.
again. Quit one job.
I worked for an insurance company, and I remember, dude, I went to. They were like,
I don't like when women say "dude." That's unless it's a situation where like New York girls can get away with it because dude is a lot more just non-gender specific in the Northeast, but it has to be like we're driving and I almost hit it like, dude. That's all right, but don't call me dude. Like, get out of here.
oh, it was a really great opportunity for you. One of my first jobs out of school, and they were like, but you have to, you're gonna be able to do more work. And I was like, oh, I'm out. I told the boss straight up. I was like, I'm out.
It's funny. I mean, YouTube is a job now, but other than accounting, I look at that shit as a job. I just love it. Like,
it's a fucking job. Y'all think this shit is easy? Bro, the last 48 hours have been the most stressful. I was gonna say the most stressful of the year, but y'all don't understand how much work I put into this for y'all.
So you're having a good time.
I literally just love like doing this. It's just fun.
And that's why I keep coming back, because with all that work, you guys make it fun. And shout out to all of you guys.
It's kind of like some girls get really into like art. I've just always been curious. I love having conversations with people and I love finding out like stuff that's true. And so when I started listening to Red Pill content, I was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna, I would say Rollo ruined church for me.
He did ruin church for you?
Yeah, he put the red pill lens on and I couldn't unsee it.
Yeah, you can't. So now Mikey's yelling, if Pearl was dating you, so now we're together. We're exclusive. She's my girl. All right. Your numbers and channel would surpass. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, man. I mean, for that, if I could set up a situation where I don't hate her, but like, I'm not hanging out with her because I fucking am in love with her. The main reason is that I want to grow my channel. If I could do that without because once you're a channel that size, you understand that you have that value. So anybody who wants to talk to you, especially somebody who has a smaller YouTube channel, is looking at that. But if I could work that out, oh, there's a lot more you could get away with. There's a lot more you could get away with if you get me up to 10K. And I mean, I'm thinking more like 100 because she's up there, but I'm better at it than she is. They just haven't found me yet.
So you say you were a little bit more blue pilled. Was there a moment for you where you were like, oh, wait a minute?
I think it was when I was on the show and I could just.
Oh, after you started the content.
I would say because it's hard because different things I changed like opinions on. I've always been more conservative, and I will say conservative like lines up with a lot of this stuff. But when I think of cheating, okay. When I was explaining to girls that like the top guys in society will cheat, I understand like the men explaining things to me before, because you'd be like, well, but my dad, and I'm like, we're not talking about you, Rebecca. There's actually no girl named Rebecca. That's funny. But and I just started to understand like the things that men would say, like when they would be like, oh, girls are with their emotions, and I'd be like, well, I'm a logical girl. We're not talking about you, Pearl. And
And listen to the way that she's framing this. She said it was after she started making this content. So she was blue-pilled, making content to tell other men how to view women as the truth. Why am I watching you?
I just started to understand like where the men were coming from partially when I was doing the show, and when I just listened to enough of like what guys were saying, talking to guys in my life, and I was just like, wow, this stuff is true. You can't run from it.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like you have like in a moment. I was gonna use the word epiphany, but then that pulls from Rollo, so I don't know. It's a whole different meaning. But it's crazy that you have a moment where if you're willing to kind of sit back and like think, you're like, oh shit, that makes sense.
That's a big if. If you're willing to sit back and take some accountability and be contemplative for a moment, then yes, a lot can change. But yeah, it's that if that were is that it? Just get women to be more accountable. Oh, okay. Why didn't we try that? Behemoth said, red or blue team lean more towards. Red, blue pill lean more. I do not know what this says. Oh, okay. So, yeah, I think I could agree with that. So, red and blue are definitely. Well, I mean, there's a whole space of red pill that has nothing to do with dating. There's people in the who are more in the political space who talk about being red pill just in terms of the government and politics and stuff like that. It has nothing to do with dating. But that stuff also lines up, is what they were talking about, with the dating red pill, blue pill stuff. Where if you're blue pilled, then you're kind of just going along with what Disney and rom-coms told you. In politics, you're going along with CNN and Joe Biden told you. Whereas the red pill, you're actually looking further. You're looking beyond. So that is more politics. But I don't think that black and white are necessarily not relevant to politics. I think black and white pills just kind of refer more to optimism. Are you optimistic about the future? Are you pessimistic about the future? Do you think, even if you think we're headed in a bad direction, do you think that can change? Those are the kinds of questions that are black and white. And so, yeah, I guess that is philosophy. Because unless you got a crystal ball. Mikey said, if you had to choose between, I'm going to assume you mean Brittany Renner, Brittany Renner versus Cardi B to be with for 1 week, who would it be and why? Brittany Renner. 1, she is definitely more attractive. 2, she is she has hit the wall, and she's starting to, I don't know how much of it is legit, but she's starting to see the error of her ways as when she was younger. There you are, Mort. I was wondering where you went. This is a hypothetical. I'm not going after either, but I have to pick one. Definitely Brittany. I think she is somebody that, despite all of her bullshit, she still, at the end of the day, is a person who can have a real conversation. And so I might disagree with a lot of things she does and says and thinks and feels. But with Cardi B, it's just gonna what I have no control over this situation. Like, I don't see myself ever, with all the red pill knowledge in the world, being able to keep her in my frame. So I'm going Brittany.
That's why I red pilled my friend for the first time. Like, that's one of my favorite series. I've been doing less of them lately, but you can only do so much. I've been traveling. But
facts. I want to highlight one more time, and I completely agree, Divine and Run. I want to highlight one more time that this stream is not about saying anything. Oh, look at that freeze frame. This stream has nothing to do with Pearl's personality, her work ethic, anything like that. I think she is an awesome content creator. I think she has work ethic that is 10 times what mine is. I just think it needs to go closer to the white school thing than being a red pill commentator.
That's my favorite series I've done on my channel, because you could just see the wheels turning. Like,
which one? I missed what she said. I'm sorry.
Less of them lately. I red pilled my friend for the first time. Like, that's one of my favorite series. I've been doing less of them lately.
What?
But you can only do so much. I've been traveling.
Oh, she didn't even say it. She's rambling.
That's my favorite series I've done on my channel, because you could just see the wheels turning, like, on these girls.
Did I miss it?
Like, for the first time, like, and they were even further back than me, where you're talking about like the pay gap. But when you explain the pay gap to girls that have always believed there's a pay gap, it's like you see the wheels turning and they're like, oh, so that's not real.
Well, I saw that in the panel you had with Tate recently.
Mhm.
I was watching the women, and it started off like everybody kind of had their armor on, but as the conversation kept going, I saw like they were like, "Oh," and it became more of like a listen, learn, think, respond. Like it was fascinating. Like
I put that all on Auntie. The fact that she was there to co-sign on every little thing that Tate had to say really punched up his message because he didn't have to be the one out there arguing. She was the one going crazy about, not going crazy, but getting out there and all that. So definitely attribute that to Auntie over Pearl. But again, Pearl did bring in Auntie, so I don't know where she came from. Like he says, if you had to get rid of the term red pill, gone, don't care. What would you replace it with, and what would be the definition of it? Good question. I think the term red pill to me just means taking a conscious effort to look past the superficial information you are presented, whether it's words that somebody is telling you, whether it is the way somebody is acting, whatever it is. Being red pilled to me means understanding that there is that people act a certain way, and that if they tell you something, okay, maybe that's true, but I have more work to do before I verify it for myself. So what would be the definition? I would say critical thinking and empirical skepticism. If I had to I have. I am that I am. Welcome. Ever find out her body count? No, you will. I don't know who you're talking about, but you will never find out anybody's body count. They will always lie, and even if they're not lying, they will. There's things that you will consider a body that she won't.
throughout the
But welcome. I am that I am. Welcome to the party. We are trying to determine who is the red pill queen. There can be only one. Is it just Pearly Things, or is it Jedediah Be Alive, aka JBO?
course of that show to see like everybody initially like ready to fight, but then like actually having a conversation. So I think that it's great. People should go watch that episode, by the way, if you haven't already. It's got like a zillion views already, but
Oh, we did. I covered it. If you haven't seen it, make sure you check out on my channel, not just the interview, but me breaking it down and making sure you get every modicum of information and entertainment that you can.
It's funny, the girl in the middle. So the one thing people don't know about the show is a lot of times you girls that disagree, I prioritize to come back. I mean, they don't always want to, but and the girl in the middle, Denalva, it's funny to see her evolution on camera. I mean, I'm sorry, Denalva, you're crazy. I'm gonna stand by that.
oh, we've covered her here.
Yeah, she crazy, but it's funny. She gets a little less crazy.
Really? Low hanging fruit there, right?
Like that, she starts to agree more with us the more she comes on the shows, where I'm like, Denalva's agreeing with me.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's funny to see girls like evolution on camera, because like a lot of
And again, that is where her bread is getting buttered. You are not changing the minds of many men, but you are changing the minds of women. So that's why I'm kind of, you guys are kind of beat that you don't want to check out this white school thing, but
people will say like grifter, you parent, like whatever. But the truth is the truth. Like what's true is like true. You can't run from what's true.
That is true. And it's also like I feel like women haven't really taken the time to think a lot of this stuff through sometimes.
We don't have to.
We don't have to.
Facts.
We were like we just kind of go through life, and then
is this not exactly what I said less than an hour ago? That women can just float through life without having to take into account accountability, self-reflection, being contemplative. Exactly
sit
what I was
back,
saying.
you have a conversation, or you hear other people and you actually start thinking about it, and you start looking at your life and you're like, oh, wait a minute, I did do that. Oh, like things start piecing together in different ways if you're willing to kind of have that self-reflection. Deli, we got more?
Yeah, we actually.
Oh, the boring guy.
have
All
a
right.
lot.
Okay, we're going to close with chats today, so let's have them.
All right, we have George Butler said, "Love both of your content. Missed the first part, Pearl, but you have a second channel. Tell us more about it." We got
No.
another one.
I don't
It's
care.
wives. Well, I actually have like a lot of chat. I have like 7.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
How do you keep up?
Oh, I have a system. It's hard to explain, and like but I'll explain it to you off camera. I just have a whole system where it kind of works without me doing anything.
All right. Well, if you're not gonna play it, then
Cool.
Other people might come in too. Everyone's like, well, where are the wives? They're coming. Okay, wait. Teaching modern women like myself how to be more traditional.
There you go.
Yeah.
How to dress. There's a whole bunch of stuff in
Yeah.
there. Good
Yeah, Casey said, "Love you, Pearl and Jed. Tate can have children from multiple women because he is a modern day king. Monogamy is functional for the everyday people who live inside the matrix, but he is outside the matrix."
what?
He is outside the matrix. I think monogamy has a good purpose in all of society, just my opinion. But
Oh, they're talking about Andrew Tate. So the first part of this before Pearl came in, JBL was talking about the Andrew Tate arrest. So I think that's what they're referencing. And the question was, is he outside of the matrix? I think using this the terminology, overusing the terminology, really weakens it and makes it cheesy. It's like, what does that mean? Does he live outside the matrix?
there are going to be exceptions. But are you into the Matrix content too? I'm all over that. The Matrix stuff. Like, are you into the political side of that stuff?
No, I kind of have I have a general idea where there's,
Mm.
I kind of wanted to do a red pilling myself series on this stuff. Like, it's population control is what they like.
It's
And
happening.
a lot of
Oh, so the stuff that Sneeko talks about. Maybe not as far as Nick Fuentes and Ye, but certainly Sneeko is all about that.
policies are like towards population control, and there's like a group of elites or something that are involved, and names I've heard are
Don't say it.
don't do anything to me, but the Clintons. Don't do anything to me. The Bushes, like I've heard. Yeah,
you got to be careful with the Clintons. You
Yeah,
know that
please.
moment from The View when I asked Hillary Clinton, I told her she was tone deaf and then didn't have a job 3 days later. So
Oh my
there's
God.
that.
How awesome was that live censoring?
I did. I was like, I'm sorry, but it reads tone deaf. 3 days later, I have no job. I'm like, what? My mom was like, what happened? No joke.
Wait, she was on The View? That's where she's from? I don't know how to feel about that. Mikey says the Matrix means the American way of living and life. Does it? Is that what? I don't think people, at least in the Andrew Tate sphere, I don't think that's how they're using the word. I think they just mean the because it's not about specifically America. It's just about the powers that be. There's a lot of argument about who that is. We were just talking about Kanye, and his whole thing is about that it's Jewish people. There's the whole thing about Hollywood, and then you talk about the other people that these two ladies were just talking about, all that stuff. I think it's just the establishment. I don't think it has anything to do with specifically America, because I think the American way of living and life, to me, that is the most libertarian, anti-authoritarian thing that could be. The American way of living and life, to me, is being able to sit on your property with a gun in hand, smoking weed with your gay lover, and nobody can bother you. That is America to me. Dietrich says, I thought the premise of grifting was to swindle, but the act of red pilling isn't an act of deception. It's a guidance to enlightenment through provocative thought. Not sure why she said that. I must have missed that. I think if you're a little bit earlier on, when they were talking about like the pick me and is she a grifter, I don't think that JBL was saying that Pearl was a grifter. She was saying that a lot of people call Pearl a grifter or a pick me, and I think that's what you're referring to.
It's not exaggeration.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah. Okay.
We have another one from Pat. He said, enjoy watching
Pearl
and Sydney occasionally for entertainment, but on a serious note, the RP is not about being conservative. Conservative women in the modern context are just pretty feminists. Jed knows this quote best.
Oh, Rollo's chiming in. That's a Rollo listener right there. But yeah.
No,
it's true.
He's right.
He's right.
He's
We've
right.
all been.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's a feminist, but there's levels. There's levels. Technically, if you believe that women should be equal under the law, that qualifies as a feminist tenet. Does that make you a feminist? No. Feminists will say it does. But It goes so far beyond that I don't even feel like I need to give examples. You've seen it with the reason that the word feminazi exists. There's levels. I don't think that it's that simplistic. It says, but don't blue pills think they're doing the same thing as red pillars? Yep, exactly. That's the problem, is that they think they're right because of the people that they listen to, and they don't listen to anybody else. But red pillars listen to what the blue pillars are listening to, and then listen to alternative stuff, and then compare. That is why, especially in politics, the blue pill or the liberals think that conservatives are evil because they don't understand. Whereas conservatives can very clearly see that liberals are merely misinformed. They're merely misinformed. And that's not any less insidious as to where that can lead. But it's very different. It's very different to not even understand, not even have a notion of the concept. Then when it comes to porridge, that you are ending a life. A porridge is ending a life. And they just don't understand that people think that. Whereas those who are pro-life understand that pro-porridge people don't believe that's a life. They're just wrong. It sounds condescending, and it sounds arrogant, and sometimes you just have to be like, yeah, you're wrong, I'm right. If I'm wrong, then you please tell me. But you can't. Can you? Exactly. Dietrich says the Matrix is a doctored format designed by an elite to make life a controlled production rather than a volatile, naturally growing organism based on all elements with it. I would give you a if my Stream Deck was working. I think this is a great, description of what people generally mean today when they're talking about the Matrix, and they're not talking about the movies. Obviously, they're referencing the movies, but this I think is a lot more accurate to what people are talking about than what Mikey was saying earlier. The only way I agree with this part of it is when you say the American way of living and life is that there's just so many people who follow the American government and the White House staffers and all of that so much, particularly in America, that is worrying. But I don't think that's. I think again, Dietrich is a little bit more pointed on what people mean when they use the term.
Yeah.
We've all absorbed the content. We've all internalized it in some way, some more than others. But yeah.
Yeah, the rest of the super chat just consists of Pearl is wifey material.
Is she there?
I'm looking. I'm looking.
If you get a husband off this show,
No.
I get some type of prize. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to cash in on that.
No.
Are we good, Dallas?
Yeah, we're good.
We're good. All right. Well, I want to thank you for coming in here today.
All right, guys. So that is the battle of the Red Pill Queens. Who we're gonna put one more poll up, and I would very much appreciate if you would answer it. Who is the Red Pill Queen out of these two? Obviously, someone brought up someone else earlier that I will definitely check out. But just in terms of this conversation, do you think we are riding with Pearl, or do we think JBL is on the way up and she's going to take that spot? The Beeman said that's the definition of the way they use the Matrix, but is that reality? I mean, is that reality? Yeah, I think that is reality. I think absolutely there. Again, I'm not willing to say that the powers that be are these people or those people or whatever. I am comfortable saying there is a group of people. I don't know who they are. They're higher than the president. Then clearly, Joe Biden is not the one running anything. Yeah, I'm okay with that. 2 red pills make a red. Yeah. That's the one thing about 2 wrongs making a right. 2 red pills just make a more redder pill. But 3 red pills might turn into a black pill. I haven't come to a conclusion. I'm ignorant of these topics. Well, again, then you are in the right place because so am I. And that is exactly what we are doing, trying to figure this stuff out as it comes at us. There's so much happening, so much changing, so much going on that if we don't take the time to slow down, pick some stuff. This thing that was a week old. You know, I made the mistake of trying to be a headline chaser and be a newscaster. Like, hey guys, guess what happened? This happened. This thing happened. And here, let's read this article. I didn't have fun doing it. Didn't seem like you guys enjoyed it that much. So I'm like, fuck that. Why are we even bothering with that? Let's stick to what brought us all here. Taking conversations that probably otherwise we wouldn't really listen to or pay attention to. And extracting value. It's not like you can't get the type of pure red pill tenets from other channels. And I'm not going to give them to you as better than any of those channels. What I can do is take these types of conversations. It's another great screenshot. And give you my perspective on little bits and pieces, and get you guys starting to think. And then you guys threw a lot of good questions at me. And when we get that dialogue going, and then we build the our community, now we have an entire community of people who are genuinely trying to figure out what is the truth and what is the best way to move forward as a society, whether it's politics, whether it's dating, whether it's culture, whether it's whatever it else. We want to do what's best for ourselves, not just selfishly, but we want America, we want the world to be better. I don't think that I necessarily can save the world, but I think together we could do a lot. That dude, what dude? I'm the only dude on the fucking thing. What do you mean? Is that a dig? How dare you? But thank you so much for stopping by early today. I know it is only 9 o'clock, but lucky for those of you who are in the Discord, that just means more time to hang out in the after party. That's right, guys. It is absolutely free. Let me say that again. It is absolutely free. That means $0 to just hit the link in the description and become part of the after party, the party that never ends, the IndianJesus Discord server. I don't think so. If he is, I'm gonna defend you because I like Behemoth. Behemoth's been bringing it all night. Funny stuff, good questions. I like that. I really hope Behemoth, just for the sake of you making this a better show, I really hope you hit that subscribe button. Come back every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, usually at 8 p.m. Because you are a great addition to this, and I don't want this to be me, just preaching to you guys. That's not what I want to do, and that's not what I think I could do best. What I do think is what we did today. Number one, take the conversation that probably would just go off into the ether. Number two, break it down in a way that gets you guys asking me questions that I wouldn't otherwise have thought of, and vice versa. Me asking you things that you otherwise wouldn't have thought of. And now we've taken what is essentially a useless piece of content to us, something that we easily, we could have gone our entire lives never watching that conversation, and we would be fine. But now that we did, we have a little bit more perspective on the culture. We have a little bit more understanding of the things that are going on around us. And, this is a little bit more focused on YouTube itself, but especially when we talk about politics, and things that are actually happening out in the real world. Hey, man, we gotta know what's what. And it's very difficult. So continuing to come back and have these conversations will help us all. And I not only that, I hope you guys are having fun in the process. So again, I think it would be we are so close. My goal, what I want, just one thing. There's one thing. I didn't ask for anything for my birthday. I didn't ask for anything for Christmas. All I want for Valentine's Day is 1,000 subscribers. We are so close. We are so close. All you need to do is hit the subscribe button. And you can help turn this into a huge operation. I just made a huge upgrade on all this stuff. Still figuring it out, obviously. But as soon as that gets all figured out, we're gonna be good. And it's just all growth. It's all growth. So everybody likes to say, "Oh, Behemoth is out. Good to see you. Thank you for stopping by. Hope to see you again, brother. You have a good one." Yeah, I mean, just continuing to bring new people in. It's gonna get better and better and better and better and better. But I cannot do this without you guys. I need you guys. This URL right here, or even better, where is it? The share button. If you can hit that. I say the likes are the biggest thing that help the video go in the platform. But that's because nobody shares shit. If you actually share this video, it tells YouTube, oh, yo, not only did people like watching it, but they want other people to watch it. And that's like, all right, well, then let's show it to other people. And that's how we grow. That's how we do what we do. And those notifications suck. So I need you to be the notification. And it's free. Just like hitting that like button, just like subscribing, just like joining the Discord. That is all free. And since I am not monetized yet, and all of that stuff is provided to you for free, if you would like to support the channel and keep me from only having to eat protein shakes and oatmeal, that would be very much appreciated if you could hit the Cash App or Venmo. There's also PayPal and Bitcoin in the description. But again, you don't have to do any of that. You don't have to do any of that. The time that you spend here hanging out with me and interacting with the stream, that is plenty for me. And I do very, very, very much appreciate that you could be doing anything else in the world, and you're here. So, that is something that I don't know how to articulate how much I appreciate. But thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Mikey. Thank you, Behemoth, Dietrich, Divine and Rod. Mikey was really in there. All you guys were very active today. Indie Film, of course. Thank you so much, guys. I really do appreciate it. I hope that you had fun. That is my only goal. Well, it's not my only goal, but that's my top goal, for you guys to have fun. So I hope that was the case. And if it was, you are welcome. I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus. Thank you so much for hanging out at this party. I hope to see you next time. Until then, I am out of here. Peace.